Hello everybody and welcome back to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will, I'm a D&D sex icon, and we're back today for another episode of The World Tree Burns. We're back after a week away with a full cast and crew, so let's get into it, my friends. Let's go around and remind ourselves of who we are, who we're playing tonight. Let's start with our illustrious Dungeon Master, Mr. Dan Dillon. Dan, how's it going today?
It's going fan-freaking-tastic. I'm so ready to play some D&D. I miss you guys again. We keep life conspires against us, and we missed a session, and then I get all itchy, and now we got to play. I forgot how. How do you do D&D anymore? Yeah, I'm Dan Dillon. This is The World Tree Burns. We're going to get into some dark fantasy with the Midgard campaign setting from Kobold Press. And these lovely people, introduce yourselves.
So let's start with Simply. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Sorry, it took me a little bit to find
You're just thinking about my question. It's okay.
We're all ramping up. We're all ramping up.
No, I'm glad to be back. I feel like it's been a chunk of time off, but a well-needed vacation for me to go back out to Seattle again. And I am happy to dive back into Tilly. I was getting the recap before the show, so pardon me if I feel a little flip-flop to figure out what's going on in character once we get into it. But I'm excited nonetheless. I'm still waiting for this talk between Tilly and Rowan about her being like a ghosty or whatever, you know. So this is gonna be good. This is going to be good.
Yeah, that's a whole thing to unpack. Well, speaking of flip-flops, McCloken, how you doing?
Well, as a man who does not wear flip-flops, I'm doing fantastic.
Wow.
I'm excited to see what we're going to be doing tonight because there was a mention of a party, and I want to see how we handle a party if we go to the party, or how we're going to infiltrate getting in. But hi, I'm yes, I'm McCloken. I'm playing Clark, the lovable Gnome Ranger who never lies. But yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. And we have Scarlet Moth back with us today. Scarlet, how's it going?
Hello, I'm good. I'm doubting what Cloak is saying just then. Never lies. Okay, sure, buddy. I hope I remember how to play 5th edition. Dan should really be the one to tell us, though, since he's a baby wizard.
I am, yes.
So I'd be concerned if you didn't know how to play 5th edition now. I'm good. No. I am looking forward to playing Rowan again, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be unpacked.
Yeah, like
really,
you're a goddamn ghost. I mean,
yeah, I'm still a goddamn ghost. Yeah, I think I'll turn up to the season finale and I'll just be wearing a bedsheet because why not?
I like it. Speaking of bedsheets, Tall Squall, how's it going tonight?
I do not know about our good friend Cloak, but I'm putting on a toga and I am going to get my funky funk on down at the party. But so that is Braz's plan. He is not doing anything strange with void magic or making people ill by the spells that he casts or anything like that. Of course not. No, never. Glaz is a nice little geomancer trollkin who just wants to go read his books and play some nice chess and maybe go have a nice glass of mead at the Hedgehog.
Fantastic. And speaking of making people ill, I will be playing Riordan tonight, the Dampier Paladin. I never know what the segues mean. He's gonna be a great time at a party if we're going.
Okay,
it's Riordan's kind of party.
Is it past Riordan or current Riordan who's going to be good at the party?
I think current parties for Riordan definitely involve letting the bodies hit the floor.
Oh boy.
Based on last week, trying to find some heretics, trying to kill them all. You know, what's a paladin to do, am I right? But before we get started today... yeah, exactly. Before we get started today, I'll remind you guys of a couple of things. The first of which is we're here, sponsored today by Kobold Press. Is that the command? !1 Kobold. Nailed it. Go and check out koboldpress.com. You can check out all the Midgard books, materials, PDFs. The interactive map on there is fantastic. So if you want to get a real feel for what Midgard looks like, go ahead, check out the site. And if you've been enjoying the World Tree Burns, you're definitely going to enjoy the world of Midgard that we've been playing in here for the past goodness knows how many months. And of course, we're sponsored today by fantasygrounds.com, our virtual tabletop of choice. So you can go to Steam, download a demo version for free. You can go to their website and get it there as well for all the maps, tokens, dice rolls, stuff like that. You want to play online with your friends. And of course, there is tabletoploot.com, our dice giveaway guys. If you haven't checked them out, go to tabletoploot.com, check out some of their fantastic dice. And of course, when we hit 20 retweets on this tweet, we give away a set of dice to you guys there in the chat. Go ahead and do so. Last but not least, winninggames.co.uk is a go-to destination for tabletop war games, board games, and more at up to 20% off the retail value. So go and check those guys out. But without any further ado, I say that we hand over to our illustrious Dungeon Master, Mr. Dan Dillon, to remind us what happened last time on the World Tree Burns.
Oh, goodness. What did happen last time? It's been so long. So last time was the aftermath of a terrible devilish ambush, and there was some tensions between Glaz and a few other members of the party because of the dark void magic that he busted out. It was there were a few words exchanged, and then it was just sort of a slow burn of everybody kind of settling back in the wake of that. They were rewarded handsomely by Tyron, the owner of the Silk Scabbard, for their selfless heroics in staving off that strange, deadly attack from the 11 Hells. A few of them went and did some investigation. Cloak snuck into the book fetish. And he was not there as a customer or as a chatty Cathy this time. He snuck into the back room, saw what they had in their hidden vault, and learned some information about their attached temple that's hidden somewhere. But he did manage to rule out any sort of hidden doors or entrances in that storage room. He and Glaz, hey, that's loud, and you need to go upstairs now. Everyone sees you. You have your attention. Go away. All right, Neil, you can cut that bit out of the podcast audio.
Dan, I want attention too.
Everybody say goodnight. Say goodnight.
Say goodnight.
Goodbye.
Good night,
Ladybug.
There she goes. All right, Neil, you can just expunge all of that from the audio. All right, where were we? Yeah, so Glaz and Cloak went to the Broken Seal, the bar where the Cloven Nine, the tiefling warlock gang of infernalists, hangs out. You need to go upstairs. They traded a vial of devil blood for a divination onto who sent the devils, and that seemed to go over well. Glaz and Cloak had a little bit of a heart-to-heart where Cloak confessed quite a bit of hefty things to his friend Glaz, including his the nature of the Niemheim gnomes, the fact that they have to make sacrifices to the archdevils of the 11 Hells to protect them from Baba Yaga, who seeks to devour their entire race, and including the sacrifice he himself made only a day or two before. It's been an eventful couple of days for these poor folks. So that, and then Glaz was just sort of left to chew on that since the meeting with Valus happened. Then the last thing that happened is everyone sort of came together. Riodan and Rowan had a long talk. I think Rowan ended up crashing in Riodan's room. That always happens. People just go to his room and fall asleep and wake up in the morning.
He's one of those friends.
He's one of those. Yep. His room is the flop house. And so they had a very long, in-depth conversation with one another, sort of musing on the nature of what Rowan might be. Even she herself isn't fully sure. They all came back together, compared some notes. They got a sending spell with the answer to the divination that Cloak purchased. And then Valia, one of the courtesans of the Silk Scabbard and Glaz's board game partner, returned from a late night out. This was in the afternoon, so she'd been out quite late, and returned with an invitation to a party being held at the Zealous family manor. And the date on that is a fair bit in the future, so they have plenty of time to prepare and do some other things that they've kind of backburnered during all of this vampire and devil craziness. And so that, I think, is where we're going to pick up. Valia has just gone to take her leave and get some rest. She left you with the invitation in your hands that invites you and all of your companions to this feat being thrown by Anastasia Zealous. And I know that all of you had a fair number of things that you were looking to kind of put to rights. There were several things kicking around. There was the question of what to do with Jennea, who you rescued from the vampires and who is just sort of drifting in Zobek at the moment. Several of you have some unfinished business with Pola Everforge.
Bird armor.
Yep. Well, yeah, there's some bird armor waiting in the wing somewhere. And that might even include a trip into the Margrave to the halls of Everforge, because Cloak wanted to have some artificing done on his blade. And I know Glaz had several things that he was looking into handling. So where would we like to go first?
Well, I've been putting off this Jennea thing for some time. So, friends, if you'll excuse me, RSVP for me, of course, assuming we're all going to the party, and meet back in a little while. Got to deal with Jennea.
I do believe we should... Oh, hello, Tilly.
We have a week, right?
Sorry, I said a week, but it's just sort of we're going with flexible time. You guys have enough time to finish whatever it is you want to do. If you want to dive into going to the halls, that might take more than a week, and that's okay. I'm not gonna. You're not on a clock for this, basically.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I'm gonna convince Paula to do.
Right. So, why don't we handle Rioden first? So you were planning to go talk to Jennea. What was your plan there? I know there was talk of maybe buying some property.
Yeah, I'm like guilt buying a house for him. This is gonna make what happens next easier for Rioden.
Ladies and gentlemen, please do not guilt buy your ex a house. Not in this economy.
So that's one thing to think about. Like, what sort of property are you guys talking about? Because I know you discussed maybe trying to buy the rights to the old abandoned tannery where you found the body of that alchemist stashed in the basement, along with blood golems.
I think maybe Rioden will just like put down first month's rent on a place rather than buying a house.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
and
no
just
problem.
be like, "Hey, here's your new apartment. You know, I've paid up for current bill, but."
So how like what sort of area of the city are you looking to try and get him set up in? Because that'll have a pretty significant effect on how much it'll cost to house there.
Not too close to where we live. Rioden doesn't want to constantly run into him on the street. So like in a not too affluent but not too poor sort of part of the town, I guess, like somewhere fairly middling class that he could afford to put down a
so you guys spend an awful lot of time in Lower Zobek, which is sort of the it's not super low rent, but
right.
Well, I mean, it's down there. It's not the slummy areas of the Cobalt Ghetto and the docks. That's your bottom of the barrel. The next tier up is the Collegium District, Lower Zobek, and the Market District. So, and then other than that, you're starting to get pretty pricey.
Yeah, maybe the Collegium, that sort of area.
Okay, so you're looking to buy him. Are you looking to buy him like and rent him an entire house or just like a flat?
A flat, yeah, just an apartment.
Okay. Got it. So then what you're looking for is on the order of 5 gold a month. So it's pretty much that's the same sort of rent that Glaz and Cloak split for their place.
Yeah. So Rioden will like go get this place. We'll check it out. It's nice enough. It's like a safe area.
Sure. Yeah. So you head over to the Collegium District. You spend some time searching around. You can find a place with a few rooms for let. and you know, depending on where you want to look, it could be closer to the college, it could be farther off toward the docks, maybe because Glaz loves to go to the library. Maybe you don't want to be too close to the Collegium itself.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
And then he would go to find Jennea, I guess.
On the other side of Arcane Square, kind of away from the Collegium a bit, up toward the dock district. That's no problem. All right, and so when you go to find Jennea, it's not going to be terribly difficult for you to find him. He really doesn't have many places to go, so he's probably in one of the rooms he's been lent at the Silk Scabbard for now, or he's down in the shrine. So you spend a little bit of time searching around, and you find him down in the Cartway's entrance, sort of just outside the shrine. And he has a book in his hands, and he's just sort of idly flipping through it, and he occasionally makes a couple notes in it with a small pen.
Hey!
He glances up and looks at you and smiles and taps the book closed and says, Riadan, good morning.
Good morning, Jennea. How's it going down here?
He sort of looks around at the well-maintained for what it is, but still somewhat dank, kind of moist brick and crumbling mortar tunnels that make up a lot of the cartways. And he says, it is safe, and I suppose that is all I can really hope for right now.
Well, actually, that's why I'm here. I've found you a place.
His eyebrows sort of shoot up just a little bit. He says, really? What do you mean you found me a place? You didn't have to do that.
Well, I figured you couldn't live down here, and in this job market, you probably want to be somewhere where there are a lot of good jobs, and well, I have the money. It's not to sound but I do, and I don't really have much else to spend it on other than...
He sort of shakes his head and he says, I'm glad to hear that you've done well for yourself.
Well, adventuring has its perks, I suppose. Cloak found all of this gold the other day, and, anyway, I've got you an apartment here in the city, in the Collegium district, in fact.
He kind of shakes the surprise off, and he says, "That's wonderful. Why don't perhaps you could show me, and I'll see about moving it."
Yes, of course.
And he sort of chuckles and looks down at the clothes he's wearing, which is really all he has.
And I got a fresh set of clothes for you. While I was in the market, just stopped by, and I thought, and I also, so I hand him. I would have gone to get him some clean clothes, nothing special.
Sure. Yep.
And in the pocket of the trousers, there's a money pouch in there as well.
Okay. How much are you tucking in there? Just out of curiosity.
Let's see. Where is Riadan? There he is. I don't know, 5 months, 5 gold per month. So I'd give him 30 gold or something like that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Alrighty. That'll set him up very nicely for a while, just for living. No problem. So he takes the clothes gratefully, and then just sort of he doesn't really say much. He just kind of stands there somewhat awkwardly and smiles a bit, just kind of waiting for you.
Right, this way, and I hand him the key to the apartment as we head over to the place.
So he takes the key, and it's kind of a long, uncomfortable walk through the streets of Zobek. There's not a whole lot of conversation. He doesn't really speak up or say much, and if you talk to him, he kind of responds in very short, just sort of monosyllabic, minimal answers. Yeah, he's just kind of drifting along behind you and or, next to you, and just sort of dazedly looking about the city as he goes. This is probably the most he's seen of Zobek since you found him.
It's quite the city.
Yes, it's very impressive. It's very loud.
Yes, well, here we are. So,
he kind of
take a look around.
He looks around, and you can see. So you all came from affluent surroundings. I mean, you were a nobles. You were the first son of a noble house. Jennea was in very similar sort of surroundings. Maybe not as prominent as you. And so you could see there's this just like pang, right, as he looks at what his life has kind of become at this moment. But he smiles, and there is some genuine light to it, and he takes out the key and he unlocks the door and looks back over his shoulder and he says, "Thank you for everything."
It's okay. It's just for a little while, I'm sure, until you get back up on your feet and figure out everything.
Yes, I'm sure I'll figure something out in no time. I suppose if you don't mind, I'm going to go inside.
Of course. Well, I'll leave you to it to get, used to everything and settle in. I'll drop by sometime and like a housewarming.
Of course. Any time you wish. My door's always open for you. And he smiles once more and slips inside and shuts the door.
I'll finally let out a breath. I need a drink. And
all right.
I'll leave him to that. That's Radan is too much a coward to confront that any further.
All right. Glaz, I know that you had a couple of things on your agenda. Where would you like to head first?
Well, I know that the party's probably going to head over to Paula's later. So I think before that, Glaz is going to head over to the library and then probably the Hedgehog.
Okay. Library research and then talking to people at the Hedgehog. You going alone? Yeah. Taking anybody with you, or
going alone? He's going to go and when he gets to whoever's sitting there, sort of, or inside, I guess, one of the research assistants or librarians. He is going to go to an area that he's not been to before, nothing he never researched, and look into not necessarily like a how-to book, because he knows he won't find that here, but just legends or knowledge about infernal pacts and what that means to be in a contract with a devil that, if he can find it, involves sacrifices.
All right. So why don't you go ahead and make me an intelligence arcana check to see how well your research goes.
Okie dokie. Intelligence arcana. Ooh, good. Come on, Glaz. Do the thing. That's a 19.
That's pretty good. That's a 19. Not bad at all. Okay. All right. So you are searching through the texts on conjuration, sort of in general, and then you focus yourself into summonings and callings from other planes, and how to draw and tether these strange beings to Midgard. You learn some interesting things that maybe you had some knowledge of before, but it seems that the elves have a very strong connection to another plane. They came here from somewhere else and came to Midgard and then fled back to there, and that's why you don't really see many of them anymore. And then you get into some things that you really touched on with your studies in Bemia, that part of the reason the elves went into decline was because the servitor races, the humans and the like, began turning more and more to summonings and conjurings. And that was an area that the elves were not super well equipped to defend themselves against. And that ultimately culminated in insanity like the Dreadwalkers that have now destroyed the Magocracies and left it as the Western Wasteland. So you're looking specifically for devil pacts. And you just want to know kind of generally what that entails, or what do you...
What that entails, and, you know, what does it mean? I mean, what does it mean to when you know, both being in that type of pact, but when you are making a sacrifice to a devil, I mean, are you condemning that person's soul to hell? Is it just a blood sacrifice that because of as much blood as it takes, that person dies? I mean, what's okay? So you're so you're looking for sacrifice rituals and pacts and that. Yeah, and that's, I mean, that might be a little bit too deep for like the public library. If it is, he's just going to see what he can find legend wise, and then probably going to head to Hedgehog to talk to the bartender who is rumored to know some stuff about diabolism and infernalism and fiendism. That's true. I forget.
Infernalism. Yeah, I believe.
Infernalism. Thank you.
Diabolism works too. Okay, so let's see. Here's what you learn. You discover... Are you looking for like the nature of a pact, what it means to be in a pact with the devil, or...
I mean, I think, I mean, get Glaz up to speed on, devils are contractors and that type of stuff. The general sort of deal.
So if Glaz wasn't already familiar with that, you definitely learned that devils, and it's a little confusing because sometimes demons get sort of thrown into the mix too, and you're able to suss out that while demons and devils come from generally the same place in Midgard, and clearly most people see them as the same. I mean, to most people, they're both evil and horrible and will do terrible things to you if they're around, and it's real bad. So the distinction doesn't matter. Demons are murderous, bloodthirsty things that want to see everything and everyone bathed in blood and burn. That's pretty much what you see is what you get. And anything that they offer leads to that end. Devils are much more structured, much more tricky, and much more powerful in a different way than demons. Devils love contracts and deals and agreements. They absolutely thrive on pacts. So they make them easily, they make them just readily, and they make them very difficult to escape, and they're almost always a deadly trap for the mortal pactee. It looks, I mean, the more you read, the more kind of a pit you get in your stomach. It's real bad news making deals with devils. If you're not careful, you're basically just sticking your head into a noose. So the specifics that you learn is when a mortal makes a pact with a devil, there's variation on what that can really mean. It could be an exchange for some immediate gain or ongoing power, and you're able to suss out in the case of warlocks, it's more of that ongoing power thing. And usually warlocks have made a much more careful negotiation than someone in the heat of a moment or folly encountering a devil and making a trade. So without knowing exactly what's going on with Cloak in particular, which is pretty much why you're investigating all of this stuff to try and understand what's going on with him, it's hard to tell exactly what's going on, but given that you know that it affects an entire nation, the whole the 9 cities of Nîmheim, that's pretty freaking bad news. That's a big deal. This is beyond a mortal signing a contract sort of thing. As far as the sacrifice angle, that also depends. Usually when you sacrifice if you sacrifice someone to some terrible power, it depends on the power and what they're doing. It's unlikely that you can damn an unwitting person's soul who hasn't entered into a pact and then broken it, thus forfeiting their soul to the devil in question. if the person was particularly evil, malicious, if their essence resonated with the 11 hells, then their soul would probably end up there anyway. No matter how they died, if they tripped and fell down the stairs and broke their neck, they down to the hells they go. So it really depends on the nature of the sacrifice. A lot of times it has to do with blood, the spilling of life, the transition of a living thing to a dead thing, and that becomes sort of this mystical currency that can then be turned towards some purpose. It is not necessarily the consumption of a soul.
Okay, so the soul doesn't become the currency; it's that energy released at the moment.
Not necessarily, but it can. But souls are not as vulnerable as you might think. I mean, that's a pretty powerful thing, and so to get you can't trade away someone else's soul unless you have some means of ownership over it. Which is why an entire nation being under this devil pact is terrifying, because that means someone somewhere somehow managed to make an entire kingdom beholden to this sort of deal.
Right. I would think if I'm still within my 19's realm, having found that out, is the soul in play really cloaks or the nations? Because by him killing this, I mean, is that act of sacrifice, yes, he's saving the nation, but is he actually damning himself, or is the nation damning itself? I mean, those are the things that he would suss out. I don't know whether he can find an answer to that, but
why don't you make
that's
me
where he would be leaning.
Sure. You can make me an intelligence religion check.
Okay.
This is getting into some of the some of the more fuzzy nature of things.
And that's probably about right. Yeah, this would be fuzzy.
So at this point, kind of how you're throwing those questions out there and wondering, that's sort of where Glaz is at.
Yeah, and that's probably about right where he should be.
Okay, there you go.
But yeah, that's him just using his pure intellect and not necessarily religious study. He would start, okay, these devils are super tricky. It's not that they are getting the souls or damning they're not damning the souls of the people who are being sacrificed, who are dying to Nihheim blades, but are they somehow corrupting an entire nation? That's kind of mentally where Glaz's mind is spinning right now.
So at that point, he's kind of in a philosophical gray area where, what is the nature of good and evil? What sort of stain do actions leave on your soul? What does that mean when you die? And it all kind of hinges down to, you don't know the terms of the pact. So you're pretty much on pure guesswork here.
Yep. And, Glaz is in that whole sort of existential crisis himself with void magic. So it just fits right in with Glaz. Glaz is where he is right now. He is great. This is wonderful. I need a drink. And he's going to leave the library and head to the hedgehog and not necessarily seek out the bartender, but if the bartender happens to be around and not talking to anybody and it's kind of quiet, he might just go and have a little bit of a chat.
Okay.
And I have his name somewhere.
His name is Radomir Schlenk.
That's it, Radomir.
Yup. All right. So you head into the hedgehog. It's probably mid-afternoon at this point. After spending, you spent a good number of hours in the stacks of the library digging through stuff that you haven't really focused on previously. So there's really, it's kind of you're sort of between the lunch and dinner crowd at this point. So it's not super busy. There's a couple of people in there, maybe a few students from the collegium kind of between classes, and they give you a little bit of a nod and wave recognition and then just sort of go back to their conversation or their debate, whatever they're studying. They have books and parchments out on their table and drinks pushed to the side. But other than that table, Radomir is sort of cleaning up dishes and empty flagons at a nearby booth and dropping them into a bin and getting ready to carry them back to the kitchen.
Radomir, do you need a hand? You seem to not have anyone helping you. I'm happy to help you clean. Maybe we could have a game of checkers or something afterwards. Glaz is not his normal jovial self.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to make a check, but I don't think we need to. Okay, so Radomir kind of looks over, and he's got kind of a shiny bald pate with a little bit of that, half monk receding hairline around the back of his skull. He's a later middle-aged human, and he's got these sort of crow's feet by his piercing blue eyes, and he sort of looks at you and says, "Sure, I could use a hand if you wouldn't mind." And he kind of points to the semi-full tray.
Yep, he picks it up. Glaz is a big guy.
So when you pick it up, he wipes down the table once you get it out of the way, and he just sort of chin points to the back toward the kitchen and leads you the way there. You head into the kitchen, set the dishes down, and he just sort of slides them to the side. He crosses his arms. He wears this very simple, kind of unadorned brown robe. It looks like, so imagine a wizard's robe with everything stripped off of it. There's no embroidery. There's no sigils. Right. No nothing. It's just plain, but the cut and the look of it has that feel. So it's almost like you're looking at a wizard with everything wizardly erased. And right. He sort of leans back against the counter and he says, "All right, what's this about? Something's troubling you. Does this have to do with that business from the other night when you and your friends were in here?"
Yes, I don't know if you heard. I assume word has traveled. There was a attack, a conjuration of devils at the Silk Scabbard that we found ourselves in the midst of.
One of his eyebrows kind of creeps up as you describe it, but he doesn't say anything just yet.
It was pretty horrible. A soldier was used, I believe, as the portal. He was ripped in two, as these three. I've been doing some research. I believe Chain Devil and a Horn Devil emerged.
When you say that, he kind of blinks and leans back a touch, kind of involuntarily, when you describe what came out of this poor bastard.
I don't mean to bring up bad memories. I know that
he kind of waves you away, and he says, "No, it's not that. It's that's going to be well beyond any of my theoretical knowledge."
Yes, no, that's, believe it or not, that's that's the least of what I'm wondering about. Do you know about these contracts? I've just been discovering that about the difference between demons and devils and how truly it seems dangerous or sneaky.
He nods and he says, "Yeah, I know something about making a pact or a deal with fiends and other creatures. What is it that you want to know?"
From the little I learned, I'm trying to figure out, if I were a smart devil, if I were a smart devil, who, in such a pact, whether it be, it's everything from chickens to goats to cows, it seems like, to even humanoids, who is it really that is carrying the burden of the debt? Who is it? Is it the cow and the chicken that have become part and parcel of this, or is the person who is, even if it is potentially for good?
When you say that, he smiles wryly. He says, "You're talking about sacrifices."
Yes, hypothetically, of course.
Well, hypothetically, the person who carries the burden of the pact is the one committing the sin. That's the one holding the knife.
But if it were like a whole cult, a leader makes a bargain and then gets many people to follow them. I mean, I guess is that how religions are born, right?
Careful who you let hear you say that.
True. It's a dangerous subject.
I mean, if an entire cult is participating in these rituals, then they're all complicit. And maybe they get to reap the rewards and share the power, but they also will have to pay the price. They're agreeing to whatever that bargain is, or either they did it first or they are by participating. That's at least my thought on it, based on what little you've told me. Now, he says that he doesn't seem like he's prying. It's just more of a cautionary, hey, look, you know, we're talking real vague here.
Yes, it is. One thing I will say, while there's not a whole lot of factual texts about these things, there is. Did you know there was a whole philosophy section in the library? I mean, it's huge. People wrote books like they were going out of style for like centuries on all their different deep thoughts.
Well, here's the problem. There's no way to prove them wrong, so they just keep talking.
Is that not the truth? I found that myself. Just quite a bit of ramblings and just on and on and on. Anyway, I think he nods. Yeah. Glaz kind of gets a little self-reflection there of rambling on and on and on.
All right.
I think
he just kind of nods and says, all right, be careful out there, Glaz.
I will. If you're still in the mood for a game, we can finish up here and just have a nice game of checkers. Something easy on the mind. And
no problem. So yeah, he'll play a couple of games with you, no problem.
Yeah.
So, who was looking at going to talk to Pola Everforge? I believe Tilly, you had to go get some armor work done, and then there was all manner of other things happening. Okay. So, you guys, during the day, you can probably catch her selling her wares at the marketplace at her stall there. And later in the day, if you want to catch her a little more private-like, you can get her at her forge, where you folks know where it is in the Gear District.
I'm assuming that Cloak would be leading us.
Cloak would be going there in the morning with Puff Puff. And I don't know. Is anyone else going to be there in the morning?
I think Tilly would go with you. As early as possible.
Rowan would go as well.
Very good. All right. So in the morning, unless you're going like super friggin' early, then you'll probably catch her at the marketplace.
I would have breakfast first and then wait for her to get to the store, you know, and then like to let everyone know the plan. Like I would take like Tilly and Rowan since they're with me and be like, okay, so we're going to go to the Everstore Forge. Let me tell you, it's going to be kind of a long trip. It might be like a week, maybe more. So if you guys want to come along, you're more than welcome. Paula and I kind of planned on this maybe a couple days ago. It's been a long couple days. It feels like weeks sometimes. But if you guys are interested, you guys are more than welcome to come. But I'm going to get a magic sword forged, and I'm going to be powerful, and I'm going to wield it all around the place. It's going to be made of fire.
You're going to charge into battle on the back of your majestic, golden, puffy steed.
Yes, with the flaming sword. I'll be like the holy symbol.
Puff Puff begins wagging her tail and kind of knocking it into things that are nearby.
Tilly's still got like sleep in her eyes. She's like, wait a minute, I thought you were just going down to the forge to get something done by her. I didn't know you were going all the way out of town. Wait, what?
Oh yeah. If you guys want to come on the trip, it's up north. No, west. I can't remember how the map was.
Northeast-ish. Northeast into the Margrave.
Yeah, it's in the Margrave, but that's semantics. It'll be fine. We probably need a big pig to sacrifice, but that's fine.
So Tilly and Rowan, when he talks about going into the Margrave, that kind of takes you aback because you've heard tales of this dark primordial forest out just on the other side of the crossroads there that is apparently just full of strange old things. You know that once there were outposts of the elven empires that lived and thrived in there, and now they must be perhaps abandoned, fallen into decline, something along those lines, haunted even. But even that the forest itself is just so old and powerful in its own right. And there's just, like, imagine dark fairy stories. It's like they're printed in the Margrave and then shipped out across the world.
Tilly, I imagine having ordered bacon by this point, grease on face, is like, wait a minute. So you're talking about Pola, you know, but we ate bristle face. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And she's taking. What tie-in does she have with this? When did you meet with her? You could have taken me with you.
Okay, funny story. Okay, so a long time ago, Riordan swindled her out of plate mail. Well, it's not really swindled. It was like more coincidence. He's like, "Oh, I'll get you the money, blah blah," and then she was kidnapped by. I forgot who kidnapped her. Oh, it doesn't matter. They're dead. So they got kidnapped, and they brought her to the Everstorm Forge, which is her family's forge. And they basically, they were trying to summon the fire realm. So there's a dragon. I had a bear. It died. Yeah, but we saved her from the Everstorm Forge, and that armor he wears right now, that was like a gift to him for saving her life and all that kind of stuff. And meeting her a couple days ago, had a conversation. I was like, I really want a sword.
Did you talk about your new friends at all? You know, maybe
I haven't seen her since you guys came here. Is this like a dwarf on dwarf kind of thing?
No, I just, I need some armor as well. I wouldn't mind helping out if you need to go.
I think that Tilly really needs some help. She really needs some help getting into that armor of hers.
Oh,
it takes more than just one set of hands.
Yeah. Hey, Tilly, a good way to get out know someone? Go camping with them. Especially a long week, and then you can really just kind of figure out what kind of person they are, and then you get that bond. If we fight anything, it's like, oh, we are sisters of battle. And
so what you're saying is you need my help.
Oh, of course, yes, I do need your help.
Sure, all right, sign in.
Okay.
Should we not bring the others along with us? Should we not bring glass?
I thought you'd already talked to them about this.
Not really. I figured they had their own things to do. We can bring it up to them and see what they want to do.
I am not very keen on leaving Glaz alone for a week in his library now that we know what he's been doing in the library. And Riordan, well, in the past I would have been worried that he would go and drink and fuck and take drugs, but now I just worry that he will go and murder everybody.
Have you seen the way he sweats around his old friend? He might need a vacation away from him. It's a little awkward sometimes.
If a great animal come in at this point, it's like, I need a holiday.
Perfect. How's that always find us?
Hang on. So you don't want to get out of here?
We're talking about going camping.
We're going to go to Everstorm Forge. You want to come?
Well, sure. Why not? Yeah, that sounds great, actually. What's there to do there? Actually, doesn't matter. I'll go.
Okay.
I just guilt bought a house and broke up with Jennea, all without saying anything. And he lives not far from here. I should have bought it on the other side of the city. Now I thought about it. So best idea, I think, is to get
bought him a house to break up with him, but you say you didn't tell him you broke up with him. You just bought him a house.
You do sometimes
I don't think it's working out.
words.
Can I have a house?
Sometimes words are hard, Tilly, and I don't say them.
I mean, the last girlfriend I broke up with, I just bought her a beer and said, "Cheers, all right, see you later." But she got that's not a house.
This is a Dampier equivalent. I mean, I didn't buy the house. I just paid him a month's rent, and then I paid him another 30 gold and bought him clothes, and then said, good luck.
At this point, Cloak would be like, I don't think it's working out, Riordan. So there is a tannery that is abandoned. If you want to, go ahead and purchase that, that'd be great.
That's not at all how this works, Cloak. We're not dating, are we?
What? I don't know.
No, we're not.
No.
I know that.
I don't believe everyone is naked.
For what it is worth, I am, even though it was a very interesting approach, I am proud of you for doing so.
All right. Well, thanks, I guess. I mean, we weren't even really dating as such. I mean, we were, and then he and all my family were murdered, and last time I saw him, he was butchered on a spike, and I kind of thought he was dead, and he shows up now, and then we're in the bathhouse all together, and it was complex. Just best to buy him the house, move on, and focus on killing some heretics, I think.
It's a proper days in our lives, It's pretty normal.
Well, I say we get to the Margrave, detox, when we come back, butcher all of the heretics we can,
Find you a new girlfriend or boyfriend or pet. Animals can be very therapeutic. I think that maybe it would be fantastic if we found you a pet of some kind, your own Puff Puff, but maybe not a Blink Dog. They seem to be a handful.
Yes, maybe a pet. I think I'm done dating for a little while, I wasn't even dating, but...
I mean,
anyway.
Cloak, there's a soft and a little puff of sparkles, and you notice that half of your bacon is gone.
I'm on to you.
What? Anyway, what are we doing at the Everforge?
Oh, I'm gonna get a fire sword.
Cool.
I would like some nice armor, perhaps, so as not to die.
Oh, we do need glass because he has the lantern. Can someone send him a message? Where we should invite him.
Oh, I can send him a message if you wish.
Yeah,
he's probably playing board games.
Sure, if you'd like. I mean, I might save bold one just in case we need him later for something.
Or just tell him to meet us at Paula's place, and then it'll be fine. And then he puts his hands on his bacon and looks around really quickly.
You look around and you see Puff Puff's hindquarters and tail just kind of sticking out behind a corner nearby, and you can just hear her scarfing.
While he's not looking at the bacon, Rowan's going to try taking some.
No, my hands are on the bacon.
His hands are on it, so you want to try it still?
Yep.
All right.
All right. Go ahead and make a dexterity sleight of hand check, and I'm going to give you disadvantage. Cloak, you can make a wisdom perception check.
All right.
Oh. So yeah, the 3.
All right. So as you're kind of looking around, unknown to you. Oh wait. Oh no, that didn't work right. Yeah. So that rolled two dice and added them.
It'd be 3.
Yeah. So it's a 3. It's a 3.
It's a 3. All right. Yeah. You kind of
very much
you can just
to you.
You can hear her beak kind of clacking as she leans forward and is reaching for the bacon.
No, I'm standing up from the table and walking somewhere else, eating the bacon. I don't trust any of you right now.
Don't just hog it all to yourself.
This is a gnome-sized portion. You're eating more bacon than I am. That's not cooked.
But a grown lady has to eat.
But you're dead.
I still need to eat. I still
you see a few heads kind of stop and turn towards you guys at some of the
yes, that's right. I am.
You're dead if you touch my bacon again.
I am dead hungry as what? I'll eat you next if you're not careful.
You're actually just dead.
People just sort of go back to their own business and their own meals. All right, so you can get the bacon sorted out. Puff Puff comes back, sort of just conspicuously licking her chops and looking terribly innocent.
And then as soon as we're ready and the message is sent, I guess we go to Pola Everforge's place.
So someone said, so you're going to send Baldwin to find Glass, Tilly?
Oh, I thought Rowan said that she was gonna. Message.
Rowan, were you gonna sending him or something?
I was sending him. Basically, say, off to Pola Everforge in Margrave Forest. Do you want to come? We will leave tomorrow.
I thought we're leaving today, but
we
haven't talked to Pola yet to figure it out.
We will leave sometime.
How about
this is like actually planning a holiday, by the way.
Meet us at Pola's. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to trek with him to get to the market.
He just answered, I will meet you at Pola's then this afternoon. Is that what I'm understanding?
This afternoon works.
Well, because how does this work out time-wise?
I mean, the timing doesn't really matter. Like I said, we have so like you've spent a few days in the library. You know, people doing those. Like Riodan spent a little while house hunting. You know, digging up everything he was going to give him, screwing up his courage to just do that whole thing. He was very reluctant to even do that. So yeah, you guys meet up at Paula's at her stall in the market district. So in the large marketplace, there are those kind of temporary tables with awnings set up where merchants have their wares spread out. There are food vendors here and there, street carts, that sort of thing. There are a few open air cafes nearby toward the edges of the market square. And you just kind of weave your way through the din of barkers and haggling. And this is really a kind of a huge mixing bowl of all different walks of life, because you get the poor looking for what the cheapest deals they can afford. It looks like there are maybe farmer sort of stalls and carts that are selling things out of them. There are smiths, there are jewelers, all manner of people. So you get the rich, the poor, everyone in between. You get traders that have come in on the river or on the highways. So you see folks dressed in the bright colors of the seven cities. You see two what look like Perenalian Amazons nearby. They're two polished armor-clad warrior women with these massive longbows, extremely well kept, and they each have a holy symbol of Mavros sort of emblazoned prominently on their breastplates, making their way through. There's just all kinds of different people here. There's the clack and whoosh of clockwork servants who are carrying parcels for their masters or running about on errands. And their lens optics just sort of look right past you, and they don't even acknowledge you as they puff and click their way by with pistons venting steam and gears clattering. You make your way over to Pola.
And pointing out the Amazon women.
You don't think I already sold them? I mean, they're a little taller than, maybe quite a bit taller than...
Well, I don't think that would be any trouble for you. It would be a challenge.
Those
might say you're the perfect height.
Those two are both human.
I mean, typicals maybe. All right.
You make your way through the market, and you can see Paula looks like just concluding a deal where some money is being handed over to her, and she has a cart next to it where a member of the City Watch is hooking up a horse to the cart, and there are stacks of crates on it. She takes the money from the sergeant handling the transaction. They shake hands. She kind of nods, says something with a smile, and the two soldiers sort of move on out with their heavy load of whatever it is they've purchased from her. She kind of leans back, puts the money away. You hear sort of a heavy clunk from behind the counter as she drops it into some sort of bin or cash box or something she's got back there. And she sort of just rubs her hands, her calloused hands together, and nods in satisfaction, and then starts to sweep her gaze around to look for possibly her next sale. And then that falls upon this motley crew trooping towards her, and she cracks kind of a half grin and gives a little shake of her head and leans on the table on her elbows as you guys approach. "Good morning," she says.
Good morning. It's lovely, isn't it? Just speaking right over Cloak. Good morning.
Hey, Pola.
Yeah, she nods and says, "Good to see you again, Tilly. You still up for having that work done on your armor?"
I would love it, actually. I was a little time crunch back then, but I think I've got time for it now. So
Sure, I understand. You people get up to whatever it is you people get up to. Well, if you want to get going on that right now and get you out of that armor.
I'll buy you a drink first.
Oh, I'm just...
She just sort of scoffs at Cloak.
Well, I do believe, based on and she kind of like leans a little bit on Cloak. What Cloak wants, we'll have some time together for a while if you want to take your time working on it.
So her eyes kind of widen. She goes, "Oh, we're looking at that now, huh?"
Oh yeah.
What was that? Not public discussion? Sorry.
All right. Well, she says, no, it's fine. It's just been a little bit of a. I mean, there was never really a solid plan laid down, so I took the liberty of beginning work on my end, and I've completed all I can do alone. So that's ready for you, and that'll cut our time on this trip down a fair bit. Otherwise, I mean, I don't think you'd all fancy spending a few months out there.
See, a lady is prepared. I'm proud.
I mean, I would do fine out there. I don't know about Riordan, though.
I've not prepared anything, but I want to leave as soon as possible, if we can.
Okay, never mind.
So, all right. So we're going to work on your sword. A little something for your armor. Okay, we can do this.
Interested in some armor as well, which
all
I
right.
understand may take a bit longer since,
She kind of she looks you over. She grabs a cord with knots on it at regular intervals, and she just kind of grabs a hold of your shoulders and starts just sort of handling you, pulling your arm out, and taking measurements, and just reaching around, and just sort of taking that as an invitation to do whatever it is she needs to do to see about this. And she goes, "No, I think I can accommodate you. What sort of armor are you looking for?"
Something effective.
Effective. Well, that's going to depend on what you're comfortable with, what you've trained in. I mean, what are we talking here? She looks over at Riordan and Tilly and kind of knocks on Tilly's breastplate. Tung tung. We talking plates on plates here, or
this?
Yeah, or that. And she points to the chain shirt that Cloak kind of reveals.
Something quiet, but not unwieldy.
All right.
Something that will block some damage. I tend to
something fashionable, really show off that figure. And I was thinking, and Radan proceeds to give some high key fashion advice.
Okay. Tilly just sort of.
What about this a lot?
Sorry, not Tilly. Paula just kind of stops and crosses her arms and leans back and just blinks as Riordan launches into his Dampier eye.
He's like the unhelpful friend on Say Yes to Address, which I've been watching.
So that goes on for a while, and she holds up her finger and says, "Right, I think we've got it." Okay, so you're looking for something protective, not terribly heavy, but also quiet. So it looks like your best bet is going to be a breastplate. Any heavier than that, you're looking at half plate, and that's going to be loud and kind of constrain you. Any heavier than that, and I don't think you're going to be able to move. So, does that sound about right to you?
That sounds perfect.
All right. So, in a mechanical sense, Moth, you're looking at your medium armor proficient, right? Because you're a cleric.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, breastplate is probably your best bet. And that will time. So that'll run you a 400 gold, and that gives you an armor class of 14 plus your dex mod, but your dex mod in this armor caps at 2.
Okay. And since this is for the donation from Turi, just wondering if we can jazz it up with anything.
Don't worry, I've got that covered. So for now,
surprise me.
So for now, you pay her for it, and she outfits you with a easily well-fitted breastplate suit of armor, which is not just the plate; it has some, accoutrement that go with it as well. So, so you can update your sheet with a breastplate and all that gives you. So, what's your dex modifier?
My dex modifier is +1.
+1. All right. So, yeah, so that'll give you an armor class of 15, and that's room to grow 1 point worth of dex if you ever find a way to increase that.
Well, it's better than my current 12. So.
Yes, it is indeed. Okay, so all right then. Now the rest of you. So if we're going to be trekking out into the Margrave, why don't you give me that armor of yours now, girl? Unless you're planning to go and do something stupid, and I can get those bits and bobs fixed on it. Make sure that the dents are handled and all of the fittings are right.
She knows us
before we head out.
Sure. I mean, and she'll start trying to untassel and awkwardly talk about. Have you seen a Trollkin come by? He's got
Oh, Glaz? No, I haven't seen him yet. So Glaz, you can sort of saunter up at any time and.
Oh no! Hello. Sorry, I was late. I was talking with people, and there was some interesting discussion that was happening as I was walking out of the Collegium district. It was amazing. Some of the things that they were talking about. Hello, Pola. How are you?
Hello, Glaz. I'm doing very well. I see you're, doing you. And so she comes over and starts helping Tilly take off the plate portions of her armor. So she's not necessarily going to take the chain shirt or any of the underlayment, which is basically your clothes at this point. But she is. Yeah. She's gonna take off the plate bits at least and neatly kind of gather those, and she'll say, "All right, I'll work on these this afternoon and tonight. They'll be ready to go tomorrow." And she sort of points a kind of stubby finger over toward Cloak and says, "That one looks like he's chomping at the bit."
Yes.
He is
ready. Well, I mean, if we leave tomorrow, that gives me time to do a little bit of shopping and stuff like that.
Yep.
Also, I have to get some stuff to, offer as a gift. But, normal.
Don't forget food and water.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm really good at finding food and water, though. I don't, why would you need to buy any?
She just kind of chuckles and shakes her head and looks to the rest of you. Don't forget food and water, unless you want to eat berries and nuts. Up to you.
I mean, there's rabbits and squirrels too, okay? You put little traps.
It's okay. If we get extremely hungry, I will just eat Cloak. He is morsel sized.
So, Glaz, you still got that lantern?
Yes, I do. I assume we are going to need it, as you are going to do some magical crafting, yes?
We're very much going to need it, yeah. This won't work without that. There's no way I could pull this off on my own.
I'm very excited. Do you mind if I take notes as you do some of your work there? It would be interesting to study some of the ways in which the Dwarven culture has put together some of this, their artistry and artificy and all of those things.
No, not at all. I don't mind. It's fine. So yeah, we'll need to make sure you have that lantern, and otherwise, I suppose you'll be ready to go tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to pack up. I'm going to pack up early. Then I've done enough business today that I don't need to nickel and dime the rest of this. I'm going to get to work on your armor, she says to Tilly, and I'll see you all in the morning.
Sounds very good. Yes.
Great. All right. So we'll call it 2 hours after sunrise.
Yes, bright and early.
Sure.
All right. I'll see you at the North Bridge by the pastures then. 2 hours after sunrise. And she kind of nods, gathers up all of her things, and starts packing up to head back up to her forge.
Glasischen.
So, oh yes.
You seem out of sorts even for you.
Quick logistics question. Glaz, did you want to ask her to make you something?
I was going to go back later.
Okay. Got it. No problem.
Well, I don't know if you know, but, and she points up to his ear, the last time we were at the Everforge, there was a dragon there, and he burned my ear off, and while I'm a trollkin and can regenerate most things, I cannot regenerate fire damage. And we saw into a strange city, perhaps on another plane. It is not a wonderful thing, and quite frankly, it is... I'm still a little shaken about...
Tilly interrupting him knocks into him. Hey, we've got a couple of devils. You're fine.
No.
I mean...
Right,
Right.
I got something perfect for this. Right, that's the brass of it.
You keep thinking about the sacrifice
aren't you
or whatever
clever?
you need.
Cloak, you are so clever.
I am.
Because it was the city of brass.
Yeah, see? Okay, I thought that one would kill, but apparently not.
That before I didn't even realize there was a brass.
I guess we need to get some of our supplies, rations. You all, I'm happy to cook whatever we catch, but sometimes the Margrave, the things that you catch are not normal. We found that last time.
And we know how much, Rowan eats. Our good fair raw meat on the way, so we'll need to get some more.
Well, but it could, in fact, last time there was, we came into a breach between the Shadow Realm, and, well, I don't know. I don't know whether you are able to consume food and water from the Shadow Realm. Rowan, in your current state, I'm not sure if you've had a chance to try, but for the rest of it is a unpleasant, melancholy experience. It is, you kind of get this ennui. I learned that word.
So that's a good one. So one thing you'll recall, Glaz, the whole thing about that rift where the Shadow Fae courier came through in the Margrave, that apparently had something to do with the Shadow Road not functioning. The road wasn't working. It is now, so the chances of that sort of breach happening are hopefully less, but, who knows?
Yeah, Glaz is really trying to make it that it seems like we all need to split up and go get rations so he can go back and talk to Pola. I was about to say you need to roll this because I'm trying to get the party to split up so he can get back to Paula's. If you need to roll a distraction. Yeah, he is trying to make a distraction so that he can make his way back and talk to Pola and go and knock on her door.
Got it.
Can I make an insight roll?
Sure. Glaz, you can make a charisma deception check.
I would also like to make an insight roll because
so here's the thing. Do you think you would be actively suspicious of his thing, or would it just be kind of maybe you notice, maybe you don't?
He's already been talking funny, and Cloak would be kind of gauging because of what he told him.
Tilly's unfazed. She's not in her armor, and her lady friend was real close. So Tilly's like, sure, whatever. If you need to go.
That's a natural one, so a 0.
Oh, no, a natural 1, giving Glaz a 0.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, he's like Rowan and Cloak. You definitely get the feeling that he's trying to usher you out of here. He's like trying to politely hurry you out of his house at the end of the party.
What are you trying to get? Are you trying to get the super secret stuff?
I was going to have Pola make an item for me.
Or was it that special cover for your special item?
Yes,
right, now
wait
a darn minute here, Glass. I saw how much you inquired about dwarven art fishing and how much you liked her stuff, and now you want to meet her after hours. We're going to have a talk.
Are you going to ask her out? Is there a love triangle? I'm in.
I mean, I didn't know dwarves were your flavor, and I'm both sad because
it's a love rhombus now.
Upset that she was. So, is that what's happening here?
He looks to Tilly. No, Rodan, you still frighten me. And then, then he looks to Cloak.
Scare myself sometimes.
Just I know it makes you uncomfortable. I was going to have her make the covers for the pieces of the lexicon.
Oh, that's what I was guessing. But you were just being shady about it, so I just want to point it out.
Well, thank you for pointing it out. I appreciate it. I will remember to point out more things. Or be less shady? I don't know. Anyway, I need to find out whether she works in lead, because I figure that is probably the best thing, because it also will protect it from magical divination. Well, and if she does not, perhaps some of her artistry, I believe that is a word. It is a word now. It perhaps could help protect it even more. I do not believe I'm the only person.
It could also be something that maybe we can also make at the forge. Like if we get lead and infuse it with some sort of magic, it might last a lot longer.
I agree. However, I'm kind of thinking I don't want to walk through the Margrave with these just wrapped in a piece of cloth.
That's very true as well. Yeah, I'll let you do it. I gotta go talk to the painted men, so...
And he just walks out the door.
All right. So Cloak
now?
is apparently off to talk to the painted man.
As a rule, are we calling each other out on our shady shit? Because I'm going to have to... I don't like that at all.
I agree with Rio, Dan. Let's not call people out on their shady shit.
Just let everyone do their own shady shit. Rowan's been a ghost for this whole time. A lot of us suspected it. Did any of us call her out? No, not until she turned into a ghost. Let's just leave it be.
Glaz looks very...
Who the hell knows what's going on with Cloak for this whole time since we've known him? I don't. Do I ask him? No. Let him do his thing. Turns out he slaughters people every month. It's better not to know sometimes.
Wait, what did you say?
Never mind.
Hang on.
He didn't know that.
Does Rio know that?
I don't know. He could murder people every month for all I know.
Do
I ask?
Thought you were going to get it. I was
Cloak had a conversation, but he never. I don't think he ever said that he killed people. He just said his soul's damned.
Right.
For all I know,
if I remember correctly,
murdering people every month in a basement and sacrificing them to some demonic god. I don't ask him. Don't call him out on it.
Glaz, after that, first thing he was looking at Riordan very shocked that he was actually on Riordan's side for pretty much anything. And then when he started waxing on about Cloak, he was just like that. And then he looks and goes, "Wow. I need to get some lead made," and get the lead out, and turns around and goes, and see, Cloak, that was a joke. And goes and knocks.
Rowan's just going to grab him on the shoulder as he's going away and just says, "If you need to discuss anything, do let me know."
Oh, and if you need to discuss anything, you let me know too, okay? Like being dead.
I was being sincere. I was being sincere.
Tough to judge.
How rude. Just because I'm a raven folk. This is racial profiling.
This isn't a personal attack, Rowan, but you're sarcastic a lot. And, I mean, some of us here we don't like it when people are really sarcastic all of the time. So,
Wow.
All right. So Glaz turns on his heel and heads through the market to catch up with Pola. Tilly, your eyes just kind of bore into Glaz's back as he goes chasing after the smith. And you guys kind of make your way out, and you just kind of keep looking over your shoulder back to there until you turn a corner and are completely out of sight. Glaz, you go ahead and
into Riordan. Do you think he's after her? Do you think he likes her? I mean, he likes the library girl, but you do think
I smile.
Should I go and try to stand taller than him?
I mean, I've learned a lot in love, and really comes down to this.
I mean, I did see how many people you slept with, so I figured you'd know better and you'd known him longer.
Right.
So
exactly. I mean, I've gained more than a few things that I can never get rid of.
But it's not about you; it's about him. Do you think it's
right? Well, here's the thing, Glaz. He's one of the biggest virgins I've ever come across.
Oh, he's got no problem. All right, thanks.
So, just make sure. Sometimes they like the virgin thing, you know, this sort of like untouched youth. Sort of sounded stranger than I intended to, but you know what I mean. You know, he's rosy-eyed. He's got a geeky thing about him. I'm not sure what it is.
Dry skin-eyed, but all right.
Just make sure that he doesn't get in there first. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I'll go back.
Tariq, thank you for the chair. Danny, thank you for the raid. Welcome in, you guys. Interesting.
Thanks for the chair. All right, so Glaz, with glasses on, you just go ahead and give her the specs. She listens to what you need, and then just kind of waves you away and says, "Yeah, no problem. I can take care of that. Easy." It doesn't matter how thick the lead is, right? You're muted.
Oh, no.
You're muted.
He has cast silence on himself.
Glaz, has made up a template for her and all the dimensions, and I'm thinking it will work just like this.
Right.
And and yes, tells Pola exactly how to do her job. He trolls her.
She just kind of nods, grabs the templates, and says, "Does it matter how thick the lead is? Can it be a sheet?" And
no,
you know that absolutely any thickness of lead will block magical detection.
Yes, that will be fine. I try to keep weight down a little, but I can carry.
I was gonna say I don't want to make it too heavy for you there. And she kind of chucks you on the arm and laughs a little bit.
I do appreciate it. And how much do I owe you for this? Take a couple gold. Is that okay? Will that cover?
How much did you give her? Two gold?
Like two gold, or okay.
That's fine. I mean, these are very, very common ingredients for a very simple build. That's no problem. Yep. All right. So she takes her stuff and continues shuffling her wares back up toward the gear district so she can get to work on Tilly's armor. Tilly, you managed to push your way through the crowd. There's this sudden outflux of people coming your way, so you're kind of salmoning your way upstream, trying to push through the crowd, and you're looking for the tips of Glaz's ears above all of the mostly the humans clustered around you, and you finally manage to catch up with him, and he's kind of rubbing his arm and sort of chattering to himself as he is heading back your way.
They told me they'd come back and get you and make sure you're all right. Did you get everything you needed from?
Oh yes, I did. I want to assure you, I have no designs on Pola. She is a wonderful artisan and craftsperson.
No, you're fine. Totally, you're fine.
Rita creeps around the corner and he's like,
No. What I wanted to say was, I could help you with your last at the library if you want to help me with Pola. Okay, we'll talk about it later. Let's go.
So you kind of want me to be your wing troll?
Exactly that.
I would be honored.
But
I'll be happy to wing troll for you.
Oh, I'm so excited. Why did I do this?
Wow.
Okay, let's go.
That's going to be a thing. All right. So you all kind of scatter off to wherever.
Did everyone just leave Rowan alone?
I think so.
She's
No, I
just-
mean, Ryoden's still there. He just he metaphysically bounced around the
lurking.
corner for a second. Yeah.
She's just standing in the middle of a really crowded marketplace with more people than she's ever seen, just dissociating.
Wing troll. Jeez. All right. So Cloak, you're making your way to the Black Lotus, as I recall.
No, the Painted Man. Is it the
Yes.
Black? Is that the name of the
It's-
store? Okay.
His shop is called the Black Lotus.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
you make your way down there, and it's much as you remember it. Very nondescript storefront. There is a large window with gold and black lettering, meticulously spelling out the Black Lotus, and there are all kinds of strange and exotic curios in the window display case there. You can see that it's changed since the last time you were here. Just you remember a few of the more outlandish trinkets, like a strange bronze vase with weird creatures sort of molded into it, more like an urn almost than a vase, like a big amphora. That's gone. There's a shrunken head that looks like it was once an elf. The eyes, nose, and mouth are stitched up with some kind of metallic wire. Looks like silver, maybe. And its dried skin is sort of shriveled and very pale ashen gray and pulled tight. And its hair is this just shock red. And it's kind of tied up almost like a tether. And it's hanging from this little black iron frame. Very weird.
Mm-hmm. Those are missing, or is that what's replacing the bronze?
That's one of the things that's replaced it.
Okay,
But it looks like maybe most of the stock has changed since the last time you were here.
so I walk in. Is he behind the clerk? There, the desk.
Is he behind the clerk? Yes. So you open the door, you head in. That sort of herbal smell, kind of incensey smell hits you. It is strange, but not at all unpleasant. And that soft bell chimes, warning him that alerting him that someone has arrived. The curtains that look like they're sectioning off kind of the back area swoosh open, and the corpulent form of the Painted Man in a long silk robe, similar style to the last one you saw him in, but completely different in color, different pattern. This one's got more of a darker, cooler tone. Last time you saw him, he was sort of bright and vibrant and floral and warm. This has almost like what could be smoke or clouds sort of embroidered all over, and it's very flowy. And if you look at the robe, it kind of tricks your eye into following all the loops and whirls. And so you kind of try to keep your eyes up on his face, which is again just painted pure white with stark red lips and long painted eyebrows with kind of fading multicolored eyeshadow. And he holds out his hands when he sees you, kind of stops mid-greeting and says, "Oh, Cloak, how wonderful to see you again. Come in.
It's good to see you. I like your cloak. It's very flowy. It's, like you're on the wind.
Thank you so much. This is one of my favorites. It reminds me of home." So he comes over and he sort of takes your hand, if you'll allow him to, and kind of clasps it between both of his. Says, "It's wonderful to see you again. I'm overjoyed. How is Glazishin and everyone?"
I mean, they're fine. Glass is, being Glass, studying, just had in the books all the time. Riordan's actually... it's a weird thing. He's like not into drugs anymore. It's really weird. A lot's happened in like a couple days. Quick question.
Yes.
If someone were to have blood of a horned devil, what would you give for that?
Ooh, how very intriguing. Well, there is certainly trade potential there. Coin, of course, but how boring. is there anything in particular that you're looking for, you might be in the market for? And just as a reminder, whenever he talks, his voice is this kind of piping, little high, not quite. It's very strange tone-wise, but it is absolutely devoid of accent. There is not a trace of accent, and it's very, very strange hearing a voice with absolutely nothing linguistically behind it. It's almost mechanical, but it somehow manages to sound musical and not creepy, right?
Okay, yeah.
Which in and of itself makes it a little, and it's up to you to decide if that's disturbing or intriguing or soothing, whatever. But that's just kind of how it is. It's very weird. It's difficult to wrap your ear and brain around.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there anything you might be looking for that I might be able to help you procure? Do remember that I have resources.
Yeah, I was wondering what kind of magic items you have in the capacity that you can get or you have on hand.
Well, that is a little bit of a tall order. Certainly something that is a permanently enchanted magic item is incredibly valuable, very much desired. I might have a few things in stock. What potions, scrolls, those things of that nature, that would be much, much easier to acquire and more readily available to you, I should think. Unless there's something specific you want. Are you just looking for whatever I might happen to have?
Well, let's see what you have. I'm kind of looking for things that help with, like, protection or defensive abilities. Like, I'm pretty good offensively. I think I need to work on my defenses a little bit. Or anything that, like, gives, like, maybe a resistance of some sort or something to give me an edge,
That, I am going to warn you that devices of that nature are not easy to come by, not easy at all. They are quite rare, and as you can see yourself, very much sought after by those whose persuasion leads them in dangerous directions. Yes. But let us see what we can find. And he sort of begins to putter around the shop a little bit, taking a look to see what might be available.
Or anything that would, like, help me be more agile as well. I'll throw that in there.
There's potential there, I think, now that you mention it. One moment. Where did I put that? And he starts just sort of puttering around, muttering to himself a little bit, looking through cases and shelves and boxes, and he eventually comes to a pair of boots, I believe. Wait a second. Nope. Sorry. The page is eluding me at the moment.
Ooh.
So he says, "Aha! Yes, perfect. What do we have here?" So he leans down and takes up this pair of boots. They are sort of sleek. They look like thin, soft leather. They're dyed black, and they have a few silver kind of fastenings on them, and it looks like sort of like decorative pieces on the ends where a corner might be that stops the leather from wearing and curling, like can happen sometimes. And he says, these, should you ever find yourself in need of distance quickly, these can be invoked to allow you not to give up your offensive capabilities in addition to that. And you may find that they make your step just a touch quicker.
Interesting. What's that mechanical?
I believe these are known as boots of the swift striker.
Oh.
That's the last thing we need. We don't need an even speedier cloak.
5E, boots of the swift striker. I want to see what these do.
good luck. I don't know if they're going to be available or not. These are out of the Zobek Gazetteer. So they require attunement. While you're wearing the boots, your walking speed increases by 10 feet. And when you take the dash action while wearing the boots, you can make a single weapon attack at the end of your movement. But you have to stop after that attack. You can't keep moving afterwards.
That actually sounds really interesting, and I think
so. If you find yourself out, if you find yourself outdistanced and you need to dash to get close, you can still get a strike in.
Yeah, I'll be like, okay, so, and I pull out a vial of the blood. I was like, okay, so I got this. Would that be enough to trade?
So
would this put down the price?
He purses his lips and he says, well, here's the thing, my friend. These sorts of items, they're so much more valuable than mere coin. That interesting sample that you have there will certainly make me interested in this transaction. But no, I don't think it's enough to cover it entirely. However, if you'd like to call that a down payment, then you could take the boots with my compliments and friendship, and I'll perhaps call on you at some point in the future, and then we can settle the rest of the price. I'm certain that your services could be well rendered in a variety of ways.
How much of one vial cover? I'm interested.
You have more. I don't think that will make a significant impact in the value of these, unfortunately.
Even though that the horned devil blood, it's pretty hard to come by. As soon as you kill a horned devil, the blood evaporates. So you have to kill it.
Yes, indeed. It is a great pain unless one were to, say, travel to the 11 hells physically, find one there, and attempt to tap its veins.
Yeah, that sounds nearly impossible or not wanting to do. Because if there's one down there, there's probably several others.
Just a few.
Well, let's see here. Okay. I think we can work that out. I'll trade the vial as a down payment for the boots.
And a future favor?
Yes. I think that works.
Wonderful. Then he sort of holds out his hand for the vial.
Okay, and I give him the vial. I actually was already on the counter because I put it on the counter.
Oh, sure. Right. So he sort of wraps his fingers around it, which are kind of long and surprisingly thin for his corpulent frame, and very graceful as they sort of one by one curl around the vial and slide it with a little whispering rasp across the wood toward him. And then he holds out his hand towards you and says, "Then we have an accord, my friend."
And I take out my hand and shake on it. Okay.
Yep. So his hand is surprisingly kind of warm, maybe a little bit more than sort of you might like. Maybe if his hands were tucked in his pockets or close to his body, they'd feel that warm. And he slides the boots over to you and says, "Use them in good health, and I do hope to see you again soon."
Ah, yes.
And then I start putting on the boots.
Sure.
And
I will say they are. Let me double check on something. I know that magical equipment will resize to fit you, but I don't know if you have to attune it.
Sure, hope they aren't cursed.
Well, we'll see that after he attunes it. We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. No big deal.
Okay.
So, yeah, you got your boots of the Swift Striker.
Okay. And then I would make my way to the Brotherhood of Alchemists.
Oh, good Lord, man! All right. Has anybody else got anything in the fire before going before trekking into the Margrave the next day?
Probably just.
I want to buy pigs too. That's the other thing.
You want to buy pigs?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to offer the Margrave.
Ah, very good, very good, very good.
I was going to say basic food and supplies.
With Tilly and Rio, then grocery shopping.
Yeah, You guys just buying supplies is fine. I didn't know if anybody had any other like things they wanted to do or get into. No problem. All right, so yeah, you can buy some livestock there, Cleok.
Yeah, I would set it up where I pick him up in the morning and walk with him. I would pick 6 pigs, one for each of us.
All right. So yeah, the boots, by the way, they resize to your feet as soon as you put them on.
Awesome. I'm like, yeah, look at that style.
Okay. Yep, you can pick up some pigs. I'll let you know how much that'll cost you in a sec. And you can head to the alchemists. What's your goal there?
I'm gonna play the same thing at them. See what they want to give for it. I'm not gonna pull it out right away, but kind of do the same thing of like see what they would give for it, and then I was gonna go to the book fetish and then see what they would want for it.
Oh, okay. So you're looking to shop around to basically sell or trade this devil blood?
Yeah, the last vial, and see what they would offer for it.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and make me a charisma persuasion check?
At advantage. Yeah.
Yay, Niemheim gnome.
This is why we should not let him go off on his own.
He hasn't gotten in any trouble yet.
19.
Good toss. All right. So just for the record, by the way, the pig will cost you 3 silver. Had it 3 gold pieces each. So 6 of them will be 18 gold.
Okay.
I will gladly pay that.
Righto. All right. So the Brotherhood of Alchemists are willing to offer you in trade perhaps some otherwise difficult to obtain poisons, or let me check a price on some of these here. Or they might offer you some potions as well. They will offer you either a vial of midnight tears, or a vial of refined wyvern poison. Wyvern.
What's midnight tears?
Midnight tears. So you ask him, and he'll explain. This is quite an insidious poison. If you were to slip this into someone's food or drink and they ingest it, they will feel no effects and not notice anything at all until the stroke of midnight. At the stroke of midnight, if the poison is still potent, hasn't been neutralized, they will very likely perish.
Oh, wow, shit. Interesting.
And then the other one's pretty straightforward, I think.
The other one's, is wyvern poison. You can put it on a single melee weapon or 3 pieces of ammunition, and every strike with that is going to deal a pile of poison damage. And it's good for 1 hit and then wiped off.
Okay. All right. And I would take that note and be like, oh, I'll see what I could do. Unless they're offering something else as well. You said potions as well?
Yeah, they said they might offer you a potion as well. So, they will offer you a potion of superior healing and 2 potions of greater healing in exchange for it.
Okay.
And then, kind of like being like, okay, let me see what I can do. And then I'll be back here momentarily. Just let me see if I can acquire this. I'm not telling him I have it currently. I'm saying if I got that for him. So I'm seeing who has the better offer out of the 2. So then I want to go to the book fetish and talk to whoever's behind the counter there and see what I can work out with them.
All right. So at the book fetish, it's not Layla behind the counter. The pretty young lady behind the counter is a little surprised by that and seems a little taken aback, but it seems like she's willing to trade you some rare components or herbs or the like. So you might be able to get, say, 1,500 gold worth of rare spell components.
That'd be good for Glaz, I think. Yeah, okay. On that note, I would go and be like, okay, let me see if I can go and kind of do the same thing, and then go have Puff go locate Glaz, or I'd ride her and we go find Glaz and go.
Yeah. You find Glaz easily enough, unless he's in hiding. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Glaz was probably up at the marketplace. He was just sort of, again, getting, packing his things together, depending on how long it took, would have been heading back to Miss Kettle Whistle's for to sort of start packing. I see Glaz very much as a packer of, and I might need this one, maybe not that, but this is the thing. And I wonder if it's cold at night. It might be a little chilly. He does all that sort of thing of trying to figure out, and then has to like unpack it and repack it 3 times because Glaz.
And then end up packing 20 pairs of socks.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing worse than having wet feet. It is the worst thing ever.
I would come into Kettle Whistles and be like, okay, listen, hear me out on this. Would you rather want poisons or 1 potion of superior healing and 2 greater potions of healing, or 1,500 gold pieces worth of rare magical components?
If I were you and the trouble you get into, probably the healing potions, my friend. Or actually, the trouble we get into, or that you drag us into. But
yes.
Or that we all find ourselves in. We are going to Margrave. I'm thinking healing probably is a good idea. Why do you ask?
Oh, I'm going to make a trade, and that's the things I have as option to get right now.
Well, I say plan for what we know we have in front of us, which is the Margrave, and I would think the healing is probably what would be what we need most. That would be my guess. Plan for the problems you know you have, not for the ones that you don't know you have.
Well, I was offering because I mean, like, the 1,500 gold worth of magical reagent sounds really kind of enticing. Just particularly for you, because then you'd be like, oh, I have this. Look what I have over here. Because I can cast this spell now. I was just seeing what you want to do, but I can go get the potions.
I would think so. I do not know, as depending on where we are, I still have quite a bit of study before I can really advance into rare components. So, I can do the basics these days. A little bat guano here, a little bit of kitchen grease and bacon fat there, and then of course I pull from the ley lines as well for my biggies.
Oh, that's very true. Okay, potions it is. And then he runs out. And he seems quicker now. Like all of a sudden he's like, and then makes his way out and hops on Puff and rides off and to get the potions, and then that's what he does.
Okay. All right. So if there's nothing else you guys want to mess with at the moment, you can trade the demon blood for the devil blood for those potions from the alchemists, and then you guys can meet up with Pola the next day if you have nothing else doing, and get the show on the road.
Absolutely.
Yep.
2 hours after dawn, Glaz is right on time.
Okay. Glaz is right on time, and so you see that Pola is actually already there at that point. She has a mule, that she is riding, and it has some packs with that are pretty heavily laden.
When Glaz arrives, because he got up early, he gets there, and he has a cinnamon roll, and he goes, Tilly gave this to me to give to you. She had to run back she forgot something back at the Dancing Bear, but she wanted me to give this to you while it was still warm. And
she kind of blinks down at the thing. Why don't you go ahead and make me a charisma persuasion check?
Glaz is so bad. He is so bad. Wait a second. Did we get natural 20s?
We did. Yeah. Everybody should have two bonus natural 20s right now.
The best winged troll ever.
All right.
I have 3 right now?
Yeah, it's Glaz.
Yeah. Loki, you should have 3 right now. Okay, so you burn one of your nat 20s, and so Paula looks at the kind of steaming cinnamon roll in its little bit of wax paper, and a smile just kind of creeps across her face, and she takes it and chuckles a little bit under her breath and says, "Thanks, these are my favorite."
I'm glad you liked it. Tilly picked it out. She ran back. I don't know what she forgot.
That's all right. We can afford to wait a little bit. And she eats the cinnamon roll and looks like she's quite enjoying it. The rest of you show up, and you see Paula kind of standing by her mule with Glaz. They're kind of chatting about just kind of small talk, and she is licking the sticky glaze off of her fingers and crumpling up the paper from the pastry. And she looks around and says, good morning.
Freshly braided her beard. Smells like tea tree oil,
Nice.
She washed stuff out of her clothes. Good morning.
Smiles.
Looking at Glaz.
So she takes a kind of a pack off of the mule, walks over to Tilly and says, "Well, first things first, you're probably going to need this." And she smiles and hands you your armor, which is all immaculately polished. Every nick and dent has been removed, pounded out, and then kind of seamlessly repaired. So it looks like the armor has never seen the touch of a weapon at this point.
All right, like starry-eyed Tilly is just like, it's perfect. I didn't doubt you, not one bit, but it's perfect. I mean, I hope you don't mind. I'm definitely going to put, some dents and dings in it. Can't help avoiding, making sure it gets worn, but...
That's what armor's for.
How much do I owe you? I mean, I know I
she waves her hand and says, No, we're square.
All right. And she eyeballs Glaz. All right.
All right, so you get the rest of your armor on, and you're all ready to head out. Cloak shows up with a pack of kind of snorting pigs trotting along behind him that he's got on a lead. And kind of he's like holding this ring with a bunch of ropes that run to each of the pigs, and he's just kind of riding along with Puff Puff, and they're trotting along behind him, following.
When I said we were needing groceries, I was not expecting live groceries.
Well, this is not for you.
But now I need to ride them?
No.
I thought you just brought us fresh bacon.
You guys know about the Margrave, right?
Do I know much about the Margrave?
Simply, you're muted.
I was saying I've heard some stories amidst drinks, but,
Oh, well,
never been there.
These are our gifts that we're giving to the Margrave, so we can have safe passage to and fro.
All right.
I see.
Poor creatures, but all right. To be good for bacon,
it's either
but,
poor creatures or poor us. We got lucky last time, but...
Yeah, Glaz Riodan, as you guys recall, you did not make any sort of gifts or offerings to the forest the last time you went in.
Oh, no, of course we did. The bear. You remember the bear that burnt to death? That was the offering, wasn't it? Wasn't that what that was? Remember the Cloak when you had that pet bear that died in that horrific way?
Cloak, you're pretty sure killing
really
one of
about that.
you're pretty sure killing one of the forest animals is not the best way to get on the Force good side.
Sure, that was what that was about.
No.
All right.
No.
Well,
That
I mean,
was
seemed to work.
my friend.
That's all I'm saying.
And I don't know if that's why we got through. I think it was because we talked to the half elven horse people. I forgot their names already.
Could have been that.
Centaur?
Could have been that.
No, they were
No,
deer.
there wasn't centaurs. They were deer people.
They were Carrie's friends.
Yes.
They were called Alcide.
Again, another
that's
case
what it was.
of our
It just,
friend's
like, voice
shady
in my
shit.
head.
I
No,
didn't
the
ask about it.
Alcide hated her. They were going to kill her.
Glass, you
unicorn.
recall they did not like
Whatever.
Kari one bit.
Not even a little bit.
Whatever.
We did not like her a little bit. Not even a little. No, we remember
So
it
Meg
was,
Zabek.
we just got lucky.
Okay, so as you guys strike out across the grasslands toward the forest, Tilly and Rowan, you guys kind of see this for the first time. Yes, Cloak.
Did everyone buy rations?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's going to show that she's got like jerky and lots of food and stuff in her pockets. Her many, many pockets.
Pocket jerky.
So Dan,
Yes.
because I bring these things up, and I don't know how you want to deal with this. Back in the days of wild magic surges, Glass ventures a mile out of Zobek. His feet explode.
Okay.
Now, it could be like athlete's foot when I brought lots of socks.
Yeah. Your feet aren't going to go up like M80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I will handle that.
Yeah, he changes his socks like every hour. It's like, I'm sorry, it's a Trollkin thing.
Okay, so as you guys approach the forest, think back to Lord of the Rings when they come up to the edge of Fangorn Forest. It's just rolling grassland and plain, and then wha-bam, this dark primordial wall of tree trunks and just this thick canopy of green leaves locked overhead of it. It's just, it doesn't look right. It's like somebody came through and cut a forest at its edge and just trimmed the rest of it away and left this there. It's strange approaching it. And as you approach, it gets very quiet. The sun is kind of barely risen in the sky. It's shining kind of into your eyes over the tops of the trees, and that makes the shadows amongst the boughs even deeper. And so you can't see beyond the first row of trees. And there are no animal noises. The wind seems to die as you come closer. There's no rustling of leaves, nothing. Still and quiet as you come up to the edge of the forest and stop. And it's almost instinctive, the way you all just kind of stop at once, kind of just sort of contemplating moving forward.
Is it always this quiet, or is it just early in the morning?
No, it's always this quiet. Get used to it. So here we go.
So he takes the first pig
And he's to the Margrave forest. I offer this in Tilly. This offering for you,
and then like unleash the pig and then let it run off into the forest.
Okay.
And then
As soon as he
kind of goes.
unties the lead from the pig, it does indeed immediately just sort of squeal and charge off snorting into the brush. And you hear it crashing and stomping and breaking twigs and clattering through the loam, and you can just, that sort of fades as it runs off into the woods.
And then I proceed to do that.
The five other pigs turn and look at him.
Oh, you're getting your freedom.
Okay.
Can I spend a crit for animal handling?
You don't need to make any check here.
Okay.
You kind of release them one by one in kind of dedicating each pig in each of your companions in your own name. And yeah, they go running off and snorting into the brush one by one, and are gone, swallowed by the forest.
I expected your offering to be more of a sacrifice. I'm surprised by this.
No. They're woodland creatures, right? So you have to think about, like, if you were an entity of the forest, right? Would you want someone coming through and killing animals, or offering animals into your forest and helping the ecological system? Possibly. Or I don't know actually what happens in there, so they could be dead. I don't know. I'm not going to guess.
One of the things that in your travels, and you did some study on the Margrave since the last time you were in there, one of the things you have learned that there are people who live in the Margrave, and they're kind of a strange, superstitious lot. And you've heard them say that any building in the Margrave that is built without a blood sacrifice collapses on the owner. So, yeah, all kinds of weird stuff happen in there. But you also suspect that blood sacrifice is not animals, necessarily. Probably from the builder themselves.
Was it friend Mike for the 32 months? Holy shit, and the raid. Welcome, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
This place is fucking creepy.
Right. So yeah.
And I'm a creep.
So it's quiet in the wake of Riodan's pronouncement, and Pola says, well, we ready to go in after him?
Is there a place he entered before, or is this the entry?
I mean, this is roughly where you went in.
Yeah, I know the way. Just follow me. After a little bit, we'll get through it faster. I know the easiest route, so.
And then I should start making my way with everyone leading the way.
Okay,
so this place has countless stories.
So you make your way into the forest, and as you pass from that boundary of tamed pasture land, city behind you, civilization, you cross that line into this dense, dark heart of an ancient forest. And immediately, those of you who traveled the road to Shadowcrag and who moved through the forest before, you feel that sense of something around you. And it's a little unsettling for everyone, particularly so for Tilly and Rowan, who have not experienced this yet. It's a lot like being watched. It's a lot like there's someone just over your shoulder that you can't ever quite see. And you can't get a read on their intentions. Are they friend? Are they foe? You just can't pin it down. And so Pola kind of shudders, looks to Cloak, and kind of waves forward like, let's do this.
Yeah, and they begin making their way. Right. He's leading the way.
So
after about an hour, you start seeing him navigating flawlessly.
Yep. As soon as you guys move into the woods, Cloak begins to... You're looking at it, and it's just dense, trackless forest, and you're thinking, this is going to be a nightmare to try and travel through. Somehow, Cloak is able to suss out paths and lighter terrain and what look like maybe old dry stream beds that form almost an impromptu road for you. And he is able to pick these things out that you would have just wandered right on past and blundered through brambles. That sense of something around you never quite goes away, but thanks to Cloak's natural explorer and his familiarity with forests, he is able to lead you through the Margrave at a very brisk pace. You think you couldn't probably make better time on a paved road. Glaz, as you guys are going through, your feet begin to just absolutely kill you, and it looks like you have developed massive blisters. So you kind of every step is a wince, and you're sort of walking on the outside of the arch of your feet, trying to not put pressure on the blisters, and that, of course, is making that worse. And it's kind of miserable.
Ugh, I do not like hiking, but it is well. Oh no! No, it is fine. I will be fine. It is one of those things. It is actually the regeneration of my people. When it kind of goes into overdrive, so you get a blister, and then it kind of heals, and it becomes a lump, and then it becomes another blister because you have a lump on your foot, and it kind of keeps building and building. I will cut them off tonight.
I have a healing potion.
Oh no!
Hey.
Don't waste a healing potion on this. It is just uncomfortable. It is not. It is the burden I bear as a trollkin. You know, it is what we do. He totally does the. No, honey, I'm fine. He's like, you're worried. He's like, don't worry about me. The whole way.
Rowan's going to give him a bit of a look and just put her hand on his shoulder and give him a cure wounds.
Okay. The radiant energy that flows through your body, Glaz, it does help. It helps to mitigate some of the pain. You can feel the blisters tingle as they heal and close. Rowan, why don't you make me a wisdom religion check for me, please?
This is interesting.
I'm supposed to be proficient in this. 7.
7. All right. Ooh. So, Glaz, it's relief for maybe an hour or so, and then it starts to wear through again.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's maybe because, a lot of the walking he did as a kid was in the swamps, and so to walk in sort of dry forest is,
he must be stepping wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys know the way to the halls of Everforge, and Pola there, of course, helps quite a bit. You make your way through the woods at a fairly decent clip. Glaz, you are, as previously mentioned, just miserable. Your feet are absolutely killing you, and you do know that you'll need to camp at least once before you reach the halls. So you can travel for the remainder of the day, and as the dark. Now, see, pretty much everywhere in the forest is going to be dim light, even in the bright of day, because the sunlight just can't pierce that dense canopy. You might come to a clearing occasionally, but by and large, it's pretty dark under there. And so when the sun begins to set, it very quickly becomes pitch black, and all of your dark visions begin to kick in. As you travel into the forest, you do start to notice sounds of woods. You can hear bird song, you can hear just forest noises, but that still doesn't get rid of that feeling that something is there with you.
There is
so
magic in this place.
That is a true statement. As soon as you say it out loud, Rowan, it just rings in the air with truth.
Oh.
So you guys can find a place to camp however you'd like. You can find a clearing if you want to be able to see the sky. You can find Cloak. You can try to find somewhere with some fresh water, a spring. You recall you guys stopped near a pond and a stream where you first met Fluff and stuff. So you can actually find that particular clearing again, and that would be a pretty decent place to rest.
Shall we settle down?
Yes.
Glaz pulls out some jerky and some different socks, and he brings out like what almost looks like a file from Paula's forge, and as his sort of regeneration sort of makes these sort of like big calluses out of his blisters, he just sort of starts.
Oh man! So Glaz is
because I mean it's like his carnelian. It's basically like the stones on his shoulders. So they all but become like stones. It's basically like he's walking on, with rocks in his shoes.
Oh,
right. Yep. So Glaz starts filing his feet. His toes have like little claw nails on them.
But before you do that, do you have the mug? Because I think I'm gonna need that.
Oh yes, of course, yes. Here, it takes out the alchemy jug, and I'm assuming ale. Yes, ale. Puts it out.
All right. So he unstoppers takes the lid off the big jug, and it is just chock full of dark foamy beer. You start pouring it out.
Paula first.
As soon as that comes out, she goes, "Oh, thank the gods! Ninkash be praised." I don't know where you found that, but that is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
And she'll pass
she actually goes into the pack and starts taking out tin like tankards and handing them around. So yeah,
Perfect.
you all you settle in. What sort of you just standard camp making? Do you guys pitch some tents, lay out bedrolls, light a fire, all that good stuff?
Can we light a fire in here?
I mean, you
Or
can.
would
You
that
presume.
disrespect the forest?
I mean, you can make a small fire.
Cloak, yeah, you could make an intelligence, arcana, or nature check if you like. And since this is your favorite terrain, you get double your proficiency bonus.
So this would be plus another additional 3 to this roll. I'm doing arcana because I'm proficient in it. That will be a 9.
A 9?
You have 3 nat 20s as well.
You know that you've definitely heard that there's some sort of danger with fire in the Margrave, but you're not exactly sure what the specifics of it were.
Okay. I look at them and I said, there was something about fires that weren't. I don't think
I
it's a
can
good
keep us
idea.
light, and this gives us a little warming. Leave it in the lantern, and I can bring out the Heart of Flame, which I know, but I mean, it's contained. And I know carrying the Heart of Flame through this forest is probably not a wonderful thing to do. But
So
I'm
are
just
you-
pretend
you're-
like my DM's not going to punish me for it.
You're pulling the Heart of Flame out where it was.
No,
kinda
but my
packed away
lantern.
Okay.
No, like yeah, I mean in the lantern.
Are you
it's been shuttered.
like? Yeah. Are you opening?
I'm not
the
like
lantern?
pouring it out and putting it in a
Sure.
campfire.
Yeah.
I'm just
No,
like
I get it.
bringing the
I
lantern
get it.
out to have some light and
So you're opening up the shutters on the Heart of Flame. So Glaz flicks the iron shutters open, and that blue bright glow from inside. It's almost incandescent, and it has like these like streakers of light when you look at it. It's very bright, and the blue light spills out into the clearing, and it's like you can see the moss and blades of grass curl like hair in a blast of furnace heat. And immediately, Glaz, you hear this low from somewhere in the trees behind you.
Glass immediately said, I'm sorry. And then he like
Okay.
I'm going to spend the spell slot and use my primeval awareness now.
Okay.
What kind of
So
creatures reside in this forest?
using primeval awareness, you are in your favored terrain. So you are going to detect Fae, undead,
oh god.
Is that just me though?
elementals,
Okay.
D, all of the above. Celestials, aberrations.
No. Let me double check the list real quick. Elementals for sure, Fae for sure, undead for sure, and dragons.
Okay.
Woo! Yeah, let's do this.
Are any of those? Hold on. Are any of those your favorite enemy?
Fae and undead.
Fae and undead. Okay. Yeah. Rowan is pinging your awareness. She definitely shows up as undead to your senses.
I'm like, oh god, okay.
Like, you
However,
just see me,
you
like-
do sense other undead, kind of in a westerly direction, but it's a small
I don't know the-
group.
I don't know the
I do.
location. Yeah.
I do a little bit of a tweak on primeval awareness
Okay.
with your favorite enemies. You get a little bit of extra information about your favorite enemies. So
Okay.
you detect kind of a small group somewhere, so maybe 5 or less, somewhere off to the west. You don't know the the distance, but you do know the direction.
Okay.
Fae, well, Puff Puff is Fae, and then you detect a lot of Fae around you. Basically, pick a direction you sense the presence of Fae.
I'm like, okay, guys. Stop for 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Your undeadness is just really beaming right now. There's a lot of Hold on. And then in Sylvan, he's like, sorry, no, we didn't mean to. We need to see where we are. Apologize, please. Remember, we gave an offering. You know, we're gonna not. We're gonna keep it dark.
What the hell are you saying,
All right.
Luke?
Why don't you make
Battling
me
beast.
a straight up charisma persuasion check, please?
I'm spending my 20.
Okay, all right. So, Cloak, as you expend some of your magic, you feel your awareness sink down into the moss and the soil at your feet, and it spreads almost like this pulse that runs through the land. You feel your awareness diving into gullies, traveling along roots and the caps of mushrooms, flowing along streams, and you start to feel the presence of all of these things as that wave passes out. You see the cold, dark, empty spot that is Rowan just next to you. You see the bright glitter that is Puff Puff, and more glitters, both bright and dark. They give you the sense of multi-colors all around. And then this great acrid smell and this feeling of power and age that is a dragon, and this vibrant, energetic presence of elementals. And you, as you begin to talk, you start to feel a little bit more comfortable, and you can tell some of that Fey presence subsides. Not nearly all of it, but some of it.
Okay. Let's keep an eye on it.
Okay.
What creatures reside in this forest?
And he still got like his eyes closed, and it's like it's like he's seeing through the forest right now. Like he's one with the forest. And he's like, there's a dragon out there. We're surrounded by Fae at the moment. You're undead. There's undead somewhere that way. But I've calmed them down. We just don't pull out that lantern. Don't light any fires.
As you're focusing on that small group of undead, one of the Fey presences that you feel suddenly winks out among those voids of blackness. Gone.
Oh, that's bad. They just ate a Fey.
I get towards the rest of the group. And Rowan's going to start casting a magic circle around the rest of the group.
Okay. So you pull out a little pouch and begin spreading powdered silver around in a fairly sizable radius around you, and you begin praying and sort of drawing runes in the powdered silver, making sure that your drawings don't break all the way through the perimeter of the circle. And I believe it's a minute to cast that?
Yes.
Okay, so after a minute of chanting through and tracing your runes in the silver, there's a sudden flash of bluish-white light. All of the runes glow vibrantly for a second, and a shimmer goes up in the air around the perimeter of the circle, and then fades.
I'm protecting, and I'm on the outside of this. I'm protecting from Fae and from undead.
Okay. And you're focusing it outward, to hedge things out. Got it.
I'm going to. Can I roll a perception while she's casting that spell while the minute is still up?
Sure.
And roll perception to see if I hear anything in the distance of that when that Fey light gets like snuffed by the undead.
Yeah. Go ahead and make me a wisdom perception check.
Okay, and this is going to be with advantage, so I get an additional 3, so it's going to be +7 in total. Not doing great. There'll be 11 in total.
11. So you don't hear anything, but as you're paying attention, you do notice that presence of undead that you feel somewhere to the west dwindles just a little bit. And a few seconds pass by, and it dwindles a little bit more. A few more seconds, and now you're very certain there is only one singular undead creature out there in the woods. and you kind of open your mouth, close your mouth, pay attention, sort of tilt your head that way, and then the last undead you feel out there is gone.
Okay. I was like, oh, the undead's gone. I don't know where they went.
Well,
They're
there's one
probably
left,
dead.
but
Oh, there's one left. He's hanging on, and it's gone. I don't know. He's out there somewhere.
no. Then there's Rowan. She's totally still there.
Oh,
Hi.
that's who it is. Yeah.
But that
Sorry, I
group
forgot
you
you were-
sensed, that group you sensed off in the woods, one by one they vanished.
Okay. I was like, well, let's all get some sleep. Who wants to take first watch? We got.
I
some cooking to
suppose
do.
I will.
Not me.
I will take first watch, given that I cannot come into the campsite for an hour.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
But you will be safe.
I just realized
for
you're
now.
on the outside of it.
Yeah, she's intentionally on the outside of it because she cannot go in.
Okay. All right then. So, everybody else, you're going to kind of settle down and uncomfortably get ready for bed.
I'm going to bed.
I'm
Worst whole day
comfortable out
ever
here.
so far.
I know about everyone else.
Are we
You're,
going to do watches in twos or just singles?
Yeah, how do you guys want to do it?
Let's do it in twos. Why don't Tilly and Rowan stay up together for a while?
Sure.
Ah, yes.
I'm a little on edge from that earlier, anyways, so I don't mind for now.
So I'm guessing
So
we're
yeah.
sitting next to each other on either side of the circle.
Rowan, I will say, if you wanted to be, you could be inside the circle. Just if you left it, you couldn't cross it again. You'd be very uncomfortable in there, but you could be inside it.
She'll stay outside it.
Okay, no problem. All right. Puff Puff. Where's Cloak? Cloak, you inside the circle?
Yeah.
All right. Puff Puff is
I
by
forgot about
Cloak,
her.
and her hackles are up, and she's whining a little bit, and seems very uncomfortable. But she stays next to Cloak.
Sorry, Puff Puff. She says that in
That's okay.
Sylvan.
Okay. All right. So watches. How are we doing?
Tilly and Rowan first, and then
So there are basically there are basically four watches throughout the night. Paula will take
Yeah.
one.
I'll do the last one early in the morning because I usually wake up at that
Okay.
time, anyways.
Sure. All
so, yeah,
right.
Glaz and Paula can take one.
Okay.
I'm working for you, girl.
I'm on vacation.
So Riordan sleeping through.
I figured
mean,
that
if
was
these-
the case.
If these chumps are going to let me, of course.
All right. So Glaz.
I
and
just
Paula
had a
taking
break
first
up.
watch.
I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
eating
yeah.
the whatever the Zobekian equivalent of ice cream is. While this happens,
goodness.
Alex, thanks so much for the donation as well, my friend. I think Dan, you might have an idea of
All right.
what that might be. Thanks so much, buddy.
We have all kinds of stuff going on there. Part of that was some of those nat 20s we already got. So thank you very much, Alex. There are other stuffs in
Thank
the
you very
works. Don't you worry. All right. So we got Glaz and Paula taking the first watch. Who's taking second?
Oh no, I think it's Rowan and Tilly taking.
No, Rowan
first
and
watch.
Tilly taking first. Glaz.
Oh,
and Paula
they're taking
second.
first. Second. All right. So Cloak is on last. Who's on third? Gonna have to split up one of the pairs or wake up Riordan.
I think Cloak said he wanted third watch.
He wanted
They
the
said
last
he
one.
wanted
He
fourth
wanted-
watch.
he wanted
So
the
yeah, I
last
guess
watch.
Glaz will wake up Rio then.
Ugh,
Okay.
Fine.
All right. So you do manage to cover all of your watches, and the night is long, extremely dark. Because I don't think you guys actually made a fire, did you, or did you build a normal fire?
No.
No. All right. So it's incredibly dark. You're relying on your dark vision, which is fuzzy at the best of times, and so you're constantly seeing shadows kind of move in your peripheral vision, and finally, yep.
Rowan will cast light on Tilly's shield.
Okay, there you go. So you
Bring that
have
much.
plenty of light for just a little ways outside of the magic circle, where the powdered silver is kind of still there, but it kind of crumbles away after an hour. And you wake the next morning after a very tense night of watches because you hear things moving out in the forest every now and then, and you see shadows at the edge of the light, but nothing comes close to camp. So you break your camp. Oh, sorry.
During watch, Rowan's asking Tilly, I suppose we have not had a chance to talk.
I mean, we had a bit to focus on. It was a little bit of out of sight, out of minding, the whole issue, but you do have a lot to explain. I will say that. You're lucky we've had a lot of time together. I mean, I feel like you lied to me a little bit about whatever is going on with you, but it seems like it's more harmful for you than helpful, so.
And how could I begin to tell you?
Well, I could get you some more ale. Usually that loosens up stories pretty easily.
I will accept some ale. And you may ask questions. I am sure you have many.
Well, you told me you didn't know how you came to this state, correct? Yeah.
That is correct. I remember some of what happened, not entirely. I remember reading someone's fortune. They left, they came back, and the rest. I do not remember dying.
Do you remember their fortune?
Their portent?
No, their fortune. Do you remember what you told them?
It was bad.
Yeah, you remember. You don't remember the exact details, but you remember it was very bad for them. It was all about their plans coming to ruin and crumbling to ash around them, and their master never seeing what they wish, and that the person you made that fortune for freaked the hell out and left in a rage.
They did not take such fortune well. Most people, when they come, they expect me to tell them only the rosy parts of fate, but we both know that's not how it works.
I mean, imagine you don't remember who this is, but do you know if you potentially knew them before? Or was it somebody you'd never met before?
I have had many visitors over the years. I cannot even remember their face. The last thing I remembered was them coming back in, and then nothing. And then waking up next to my body. Do you know what it's like to hide yourself away from the world for weeks because you have no idea what's going on? And because you are scared of what you are all of a sudden?
I mean, frankly, no. But I'm just really curious how... You have to forgive me, I don't know much about rejoining an undead soul, I guess, with the body.
I did not rejoin my body. After 3 weeks of its rotting in my home and me being so scared to even go near it, I stripped it of everything valuable to me and tossed it into the fireplace. And then I spent hours watching my body and everything I was burn.
So when did you end up coming down to our village? Or contacting us after that?
Well, for weeks I could not even think to go down, but I remembered there were people down there who needed me, and should they come up here and see the state I was in, then there would be trouble. So I came down and came to tell stories to you and to the rest of your ilk. and pretended there was nothing wrong.
So is every story you told me of your history a lie, other than this little bit of one you haven't told me?
No, they're all truth. And I was alive for much of your life. Simply the last
I mean, you'll
few
have to forgive me
decades.
for asking. I just need to make sure that, you know.
I understand your hesitation. Mm. The stories are all my truth. Everything I have learned, everything I have lived is all part of those stories. And for those weeks after I stopped being, I felt weak. I was not telling stories. I could feel what I was becoming less. And I knew I had to continue. Whether Wotan is punishing me for something I have done in life, for not being brave enough, for being a coward, or whether this is some kind of twisted fortune from him, I know I must continue telling the stories. It's most likely one of the reasons he sent us here. There are more stories to tell.
Sure, I mean, you've always been pretty in tune with your runes and your readings, but I'm just curious if that individual was a tool for this venue that's now who you are, but I don't know. I wish you remembered their face or something.
I wish I remembered too. Something. I have asked Wotan, I've asked the runes, I've asked to the heavens for some kind of fortune, some kind of sign that I might know their face. Because trust me, I have much anger.
Did you ever tell my mother this? Did she ever know?
Aye. She did.
I mean, she never did.
She was not
She never
happy.
seemed like she didn't. Oh, I mean, she never seemed like she didn't trust you. She continued to let me visit you and check on you, but I guess if she knew, I mean,
maybe for some form of kindness for all those years I've served your people. But trust me, she was not happy. Remember, I did once say, if anything happened to you, she would kill me.
Again? I'm sorry.
Again.
Sorry. Gotta find light in the situation, I suppose.
I've spent so long keeping this secret to myself for fear of what might happen to others.
What do you mean?
I almost did not bring you with me on this. I don't want this person finding out I'm still, well, I hesitate to say alive, but walking this earth and coming to finish the job. Or hurting the only things I have left.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They can't sneak up on us. You know, they're dirty tricks for coming in the night for you, but keep our eyes peeled, I suppose. Just try. Just if you think of anything you know about them or remember, just let me know. There's somebody from the north?
I cannot even say.
Hmm.
Well, that I had memory. Are you ashamed of me?
I mean, we've met a Dampier who got addicted to drugs and fucked everything in like 4 miles. You might be a little undead, but you were so good to me for so long, even when you were. So
I did not
weird
die in
but-
glory, though.
No, but I mean, maybe that's Odin's reason of bringing you back. Maybe that's Wotan's point, is the fact that he want to grant you a better death than what you got, you know? The second one.
I had not thought of it like that. But you have always been kind to me.
Just, you know, don't boo or anything. I'm a little, might see in the dark, I'm a little afraid of it. You know. It's a joke, it's a joke. Drink more ale, it's fine. It's fine. I'm tired of sitting here. Oh.
Well, I believe it is.
Pola and Glaz both about the same time begin snoring.
Well, you think can snore louder? Do you think it'd be Pola? I mean, it's pretty attractive feet in a girl.
You've always been one for a pretty face.
Hey, I mean, you know.
And
In the north, they came
muscles.
running for mine, you know. But not down here. It's about time. Let's go wake him up. Do you want to wake up? What?
I can stay up longer if you wish to go and rest with her.
I mean,
When will you have a chance like this again? I may be old, I may be dead, but I do know the way of the heart.
sometimes there's a few ales previous to just getting into the... I'll go see if the rifle are shift. Just try to wake up Pola and wake up.
All right. So as you're kind of drifting away, you hear some of those forest noises again, and distance, the sound, it's so strange, almost like it's half muffled most of the time. And you hear things moving out in the darkness, and it's a little bit more constant now than it was before, but nothing comes close enough into the light for you to see. Nothing approaches your camp as you go over and wake the next shift. So the next morning, you all awake. You have your breakfast, you strike camp, and you set out again on the trail that Pola and Cloak particularly are able to pull out. And you know that you have a few more hours of travel left, and you'll reach the hillside with the entrance to the halls of Everforge before too long that morning. And as you strike your camp and begin to set out, there's just this kind of tired, like nobody really slept well, sort of settled over you. You got kind of dark circles under your eyes. You're just stiff, sleeping on the ground, slept on a root or something in the small of your back. So you have muscles kind of knotted up here and there. And as you're getting your things together, there's the sound of footfalls on the forest floor nearby. And you hear a few more. And a few more. Maybe a small number of people sort of walking through the brush, and some slightly dense but not too terrible, like thin-leaved bushes, thin-stalked bushes with kind of large leaves, pushes aside, and a beautiful woman steps out. She has skin that looks like this bronze, almost polished wood. It has almost wood grain in it. Her hair looks like flowing grass, and she has a wreath of flowers woven around it. Her gown is like a massive chain of flowers woven into an off one shoulder sort of sundress. She walks barefoot, softly on the moss, but enough for you to hear. And her eyes are this blank gray. It looks like a storm cloud bank. And she has a bow in her hand, but it's held loosely at her side down at the ground. Cloak, your guts clench. You've seen one of these before. This is a Vila. These are the daughters of Baba Yaga. She steps forward and smiles, and she says, "Hello, friends. It's so rare that we see visitors to the Margrave. I can sense that you are on tasks of great import. Destiny weighs heavily on all of you. But before you go on your way, I'm compelled to deliver an invitation. My mother would love to have you for tea. All 7 of you." And she smiles broadly once more. And I think that's where we're going to stop for this week.
Hey. We keep getting invited to parties.
All you see is Glass like staring at Cloak, and Cloak is like clenching his sword at the moment. He's like slowly reaching for his sword.
Glass heard tea. He's thinking the pretty woman has brought us tea.
I'm going.
They're gonna have us for tea. That's the key word right there.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, my friends, hopefully you guys have enjoyed tonight's episode of the World Tree Bones. If you have, let us know. Big shout out goes to Alex for a huge donation there. We are sure to bring all of that stuff into the next episode. Thank you very much, my friend. Let's see. If you guys are liking the world of Midgard, I'm sure we're loving it. Go check out koboldpress.com. You get PDFs, you can get books into your house, you can get gazetteers. The interactive map there is great, worth checking out. Go over to koboldpress.com and see if you might want to have some of your own adventures in Midgard. But let's go around to cast and the crew. Did we enjoy ourselves tonight? Where can we find you wonderful people online? Let's start with Dan. How was that, Dan?
That was great. I'm so happy that we got back into it. I'm looking forward to next week. Some of the interim scenes took longer maybe than I was anticipating. Not a problem, but we got some interesting stuff to get to next time. We're gonna have an interesting schedule that I can't wait to dive into. So yeah, apparently Baba Yaga has invited you all for tea. This has been a blast. I love playing with you guys. I'm happy to be back at it. I can't wait for next week. And so, yeah, I'm Dan Dillon. You can find me on Twitter at Dan_Dillon_1. And I am recently hired as the newest game designer on the Wizards of the Coast D&D team. So feel free to talk to me about D&D and any of that fun stuff. And I'm looking forward to sharing more things with you guys.
Hell yeah.
So the official countdown to 5E Alcadem started?
Yeah, according to Dyson Logos, it is.
Fantastic. And Simply, how was that tonight for you? Great to have you back with us today.
It was good. Yeah, I was glad to be back. A little bit hard getting back into the shoes of the character after not playing him for a few weeks, which makes me sad. But I had a good time tonight. I love the description of Baba Yaga. It's going to be hard not to draw that in my free time. I am also excited for you and your new job, Dan. Also for potential relocation where I'm relocating to. So we'll be able to hang out hopefully at some point, which I'm excited about.
Can't wait.
But outside of this broadcast and playing Tilly the Dwarf Fighter, I am simply_Jackson here on Twitch, and I make art and I play games. And if I get into the Twitch Sing Beta, I'll be doing some karaoke soon, which will be really fun. But other than that, that's it. Just come by and say hi if you want. Okay, bye.
Look, yeah. Can I give you my Twitch Sings key? I'm not going to use it. Is that something I'm allowed to do?
I don't know. We could try.
I'll
hit you up.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. McLogan. What movies might we remember you from?
My name's McLogan. You might remember me from such films as You Think You Can Haggle and Fuck You, Dan. Oh my God.
that's a great movie. Love that.
I don't know. Like, I'm kind of speechless, and I'm gonna be anxious all week now, thinking about what I'm gonna do. Because, like, in my head, how that ended was Cloak's midair with his sword out, flying at this fucking thing.
Well, because that might be how it goes down.
It probably is gonna go how it's gonna go down. He's not negotiating with this thing or taking up the offer to go to tea. But we'll see. We'll see how everyone else reacts and go from there. But yeah, you guys can follow me at my Twitter at McLokin. You guys can see what shows I'm going to be on. I may end up doing a couple shows that are just going to be on podcasts, possibly. I don't know if that's happening, but I will tweet that out as well if that's going to go down. But yeah, great show. I like this feeling of like, oh shit, what's going to happen? Oh god damn it, I don't know what to do. But that's me.
Well, shit, I was so excited I turned off my camera. Skull
But you're a bit trigger happy there.
I am.
I love playing with this group because I never know what everyone's planning and what Dan's planning, and it's just my happy place. Even when we end on really tense cliffhangers. Thanks, Dan. And I'm glad that Tilly and Rowan finally got to have a little discussion, because that's been brewing for a while. I'm Scarlet Moth. You can find me at that Scarlet Moth on Twitter. I'm an artist, cosplayer, and D&D lover. My current cosplay project is actually making Rowan for a local medieval fair, which is going to be down here in April. So
I cannot wait to see that. That's so awesome.
I'm very excited about figuring out how to make an articulated moving bird beak. So I'm going the full way. It's going to be all like authentic Viking era clothing and bird. So yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. And last but by no means least, Talk Squall.
Always a blast to play in Midgard. It's one of my favorite settings campaign-wise, and hearing all the lore. And I don't know if everyone has a problem about it. It is an invitation to tea. Last time that we had an invitation from the deer people who came in, it turned out very well for us. We did a little battle. I got my shadow pearl. It was a nice thing. I don't know who this is. It is someone who's offering tea in the woods. They're being neighborly. They are welcoming us to the neighborhood. I do not see. I should have brought cookies. Yeah, no, I had a great time. You can find me as Tall Squall all over the internet. If you go to my Twitter, you can find all the different games and such that I'm in, including the campaign that I DM on Saturdays at 2 o'clock. We're going into a really, really dark part of our campaign. If you kind of like dark horror, demons and such, and some psychological pieces where I get to play with my PC's minds, tune on in over on my Twitch channel. I hope to see you all there. Let me know you found me through Midgard and the World Tree Burns.
Oh boy, do I love some psychological messing with people.
Me too.
Psychological trauma.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm in. Amazing. Well, thank you guys for watching us today here in the World Tree Burns. Can't wait to see you guys again next week, Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Easterns, when you can find us here live here on twitch.tv/Encounter Roleplay. If you're catching up on YouTube, hello. Hello, YouTube. Hi. Or you're listening on podcast. Also, greetings to you. Hope you've had a nice day. Well, that's all we've got for time for today. Tomorrow, God, what am I doing tomorrow? 2 o'clock Eastern, back for Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep. And at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Tales from the Loop. The Little Busters are back. So we'll see you guys then. But until next time, try not to roll too many net ones. We want to be laughing when you do. Good night, everybody. Bye.
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 There we go, Neil.